Welcome, everybody, to the most hyped amateur playoffs of the year. Aegis Champions League playoffs action has officially begun here, and we are privileged to get the first matchup of the day. CCG is making sure that all of their rosters can go on stream here, and I am joined, of course, by Mr. Box Kimchi. Good to return with you, my man, to cover some CCG, and boy, what a matchup do we have today.
Oh boy, indeed. One of the best teams in the league in Team Fish Taco, who they did end up winning their group going 6-1. And for CCG Futures, their work is cut out for them. They just snuck into playoffs at 4-3. And that's kind of the punishment, I guess, or the outcome of finishing in the final playoff transfer spot is you got to go up against one of the toughest teams to start the tournament.
Yeah, that's exactly how it plays out, Box Kimchi. CCG Futures is, honestly, the way their season started, pretty fortunate to be in the playoffs. But maybe I don't want to say fortunate. They had to work hard, but they certainly stacked themselves up to have to fight for this, right? They started very slow to start the regular season. It took a while for them to pick up their any first series wins. The roster was going through a lot of changes. But finally, we've got the main roster kind of sorted together, and boy, does it have some superstar level talent, obviously highlighted by guys like Quacker and Music, two guys who were playing on Supernova's team just a little bit ago in the North American Challengers League.
And with that rough start did come a bit of an asterisk next to it. The teams they did end up losing to were the three teams that topped the group in the end, in Clown Gaming, I believe it was Clown Gaming, Cincinnati Fear, and Gentle Hearts Gaming. So
yep,
maybe there is a chance at the miracle run, because they came back and wrapped it up clean and made it here. Anything can happen from this point out, to be honest.
Yeah, certainly anything can play out here. We just got to get to the playoffs. It's kind of the rule of thumb. Just get there, and whatever happens going forward happens. Because certainly, especially at Tier 3 League of Legends, we've seen some crazy stuff when it comes to playoffs. But you mentioned the fact that they're playing the number one team from the Noxus division, and, it's fun to hype up how much like Tier 2 level talent has used their off season to come play in the Aegis Champions League. Well, that's also the same for the team they're looking at. I mean, Team Fish Taco, the organization was the North American Challengers League. They had a roster in the NACL, but they're also sporting some guys that, have played that Tier 2 level. A lot of guys who I think could honestly get spots in the LCS sooner rather than later. You got guys like Surdy, Young, and Meech, who are both off of winning the North American Challengers League before they joined this Team Fish Taco roster. I mean, you talk about this team as obviously a favorite to win their group. They might be a favorite to make a run for this entire thing.
Team Fish Taco, I mean, yeah, a lot of players coming in from Tier 2, a lot of players coming in from high-tier collegiate leagues. Winnie coming in off of a third-place finish at CELO this year. I mean, or earlier this year, really. And it's just, odds are stacked against you, and your teams, it's kind of tough to play against Tier 2 talent as a Tier 3 team.
But, I mean, if you want to be, the best way to get tested is to go up against this talent, especially on a stage like this. So that's exactly what guys like Ralik, Bazby are looking to do. As we are into game number one draft here, Team Fish Taco, as the higher seed, I'm pretty certain, had that side selection going for them here. And we're already through the picks and bans here. Obviously, with blue side, it's always, what do you want to prioritize, Box Kimchi?
It is a lot of freedom on the blue side, which I guess comes with the benefit of being the number one team in your division. You get to ban out champions you don't want to play against and force your opponents to ban away the meta, as we see coming through with this Xayah, Jinx, and Maokai bans from CCG Futures. Just three of the scariest champions I can think of right now on the patch.
Yeah, really trying to target Meech, too. They want to try and take away his picks. But there's a problem with, you can only take away so many of those Prio B1 picks. You try to take away the Maokai, you try to take away one of those hyper-scaling AD carries, or two of them, matter of fact. You're going to leave up Cassante, one of the most overtuned champions right now in League. Very fun to watch, though. And boy, are we setting up for a big-time top-lane matchup. I mean, I know the champions are what you expect of the meta right now, Cassante and Renekton. But in my mind, I guess I'm completely wrong. In my mind, at least getting to see Cassante and Renekton in potentially the hands of Quacker and Surdy going up against each other is going to be masterful. But I have to eat my words because we don't get that Renekton.
Orianna, always a pretty safe champion to pick, always in a solid spot in the meta as long as you can play around it properly. Very safe, has good harassment as well, and just doesn't really need to worry about anything besides just getting that first and second item to really get going. The Jarvan, always the early aggression jungler you want, and is this going to be another Akali? Well, for me, another Akali into Orianna, I guess. A very skill-based matchup for the Akalis, considering the range difference and just the ability to put on the harass, and it will be Akali for Young.
Young is going aggressive. There's only a couple really answers to the Orianna. It's either you're going to try and pick a control mage that can match her and scale up with her, or you're going to play something that's aggressive and try and shut her down. Rallick going to be hard pressed in the lane early, especially this jungle locking comes across. We do have Winnie hovering really just 3 aggressive early game stance junglers here. It looks like the Vi will be the lock-in here. So a lot of early game honest pressure, and also good pick because once you see Orianna locked in, she has the shockwave, but without flash, she's pretty stable. Just ult on top of her with that Vi, and you can make things happen.
I am not a huge fan of this jungle mid combo from TFT, to be honest, even though they obviously know a lot better than me and are definitely a lot better than me at League of Legends, but usually with the Vi, you want to pair it with something that has good chase down potential. Akali has good chase down, but doesn't have anything to set the Vi up really besides just putting an opponent low. Meanwhile, Rallick taking the Renekton for the top for Quacker here. So another Renekton Cassante. If you've been following any tier of League of Legends, Cassante Renekton has been the endlessly traded back position, like the endlessly traded back top lanes, and it's been kind of played to death.
Yeah, it certainly has been played to death. I mean, that's what happens with some lanes when you get into the meta, right? It's just you're going to have a pinch pool of champions, and when you leave up the strongest ones, they're going to slam them. At least they're being wielded by 2 guys who are just, honestly, in my mind, 2 of the best top laners at Tier 2 last split in the summer split. So Renekton versus Cassante, in their hands, will at least be very fun to watch. But with every lane, on the top side of the map pick, that leaves the second tier of bans to get really pinched here. So you're looking at, you can already see the Kalista, Aphelios, a Senna ban. Tom Kench is still up as well, but banning Senna away means you can kind of take away that Tom Kench. You ban one of the 2. The other one also serves as a secondary ban. The bottom line, though, is both of these, it looks like marksman players, Box Kimchi, are just really going to get their pools pinched. That is technically 6 marksman bans kind of across the board. 7 if you really want to count Ziggs, right? Exactly, and that means leaves Bats B to go with one of the few left up there if he does lock in this Kai'Sa.
Yeah, they spent so much time banning away what I would consider the S and A tier ADCs right now that it does leave Kai'Sa, who is still probably up there in that S and A tier, just being able to build whatever she wants and do just about everything she needs to do still. But now with Meech, you're really down to Ashe and Draven. And I can't really see a Jhin lock-in or maybe a Sivir. It's really it.
I think Sivir or Ezreal, if you want to play really safe here, is also an option. I think Sivir and Ezreal are probably the 2 better options. Caitlyn is an intriguing prospect. I wouldn't like it. I know the lethality build is kind of the thing. It'd be terrible into this comp, to be honest with you. With a Renekton and a J4, you're not really going to get the value out of that. It is the Caitlyn going to be locked in, and it looks like Trevor and Meech are going to go hyper-aggressive as well if this Lux Hover does get locked in. It's not as prevalent in the meta as it used to be earlier, but Caitlyn Lux is an incredibly aggressive bottom lane. Kind of just highlighting the fact that Deep Fish Taco don't want to play passive at all in this early game.
Looking towards the Renata. Nope, going back to the Lux. I was going to say, looking towards the Renata, not a great look. And there's the counter pick into Caitlyn Lux. You can't outrange them because Caitlyn has like 600 range. So you just grab one of them, force them to face you down, and hope for the best. But for Meech and Trevor, I think they did get the bot lane they wanted here. They saw the Kai'Sa lock in and went with the longest possible range comp they could so they can get control of the lane early. So it's really going to be on Breezy to just find the miracle hook and put a real good dent in their plans.
Yeah, Breezy had a lot of options left up too, but the Blitzcrank is kind of the all for naught sort of play here. There was still Rakan available. if you want to go towards a Nautilus, but the Blitzcrank is certainly an answer. Nonetheless, in the aggressive stance, and now we get kind of a look at both of these compositions across the board here. And I got to go back to the point, you know, it really feels like through Winnie, Meech, and honestly this bottom lane, they're just looking to get a lead early and not let up at all.
It does seem that way, because with this Cassante draft, you really can just leave this top lane into set it and forget it mode, with just Cassante being the state of top lane tanks, it seems. You could kind of just leave him to farm up, even die once or twice into Renekton, and he should be fine. Meanwhile, this mid lane, you can't really do much besides hopefully burn Orianna's flash, get a level 3 or 4 gank on her, and hope for the best. Otherwise, I do see Winnie just hanging out towards this bot lane, waiting for Breezy to land a hook, and make sure Meech can never scale and never be in a safe position in lane.
Yeah, but on the other side, you do have CC Futures, who are going with the composition kind of style that we've seen a lot of the time in meta right now. I've seen this, at least this top side drafted constantly. You've got the Renekton, the J4, the Orianna. Like, that just screams skirmishy, that screams sort of team fighting. And that's where I kind of have some questions about the Blitzcrank. Obviously, it is looking more like a lane-based pick here. But with the rest of the composition formulated to likely try and set up first at these neutral objectives, get those fights, you know, in a sort of Wombo-esque style, Blitzcrank doesn't fit in as well to me as like maybe a Rakan would have, or maybe a Nautilus, which even that is still kind of in the same vein of the Blitzcrank. I'm mostly saying the Rakan box, Kimchi.
It is kind of an anti-synergy with what the Jarvan and Orianna want, where they want to put them in one specific zone and keep them there for Renekton and Kai'Sa to kind of just wail on them, and then Blitzcrank just can remove them from the Cataclysm and possibly let them escape. It's going to be interesting to see how Breezy maneuvers these fights, whether it's going to be Breezy engages first and then Music and Ralik go in with Quacker, or if we're going to see Breezy kind of be the follow-up, really, or possibly even the chase down if they close out a fight ahead. It's going to be... I'm intrigued to see how Blitzcrank is going to play with this very go-forward comp.
But you mentioned Dasby's Kai'Sa. I know we didn't get to touch on it too much, but I do like the Kai'Sa as a response in a lot of ways to what Winnie and Young are going to want to do. Because if you had tried here, if you tried to pick, well, there's not a lot of AD carries left up to even try and pick. But, you know, if you had been the one to pick the Caitlyn, right? That's a more stationary kind of AD carry. Doesn't have a lot of mobility escapes in her kit to allow her to get away from a Vi coming at you or an Akali. I like the Kai'Sa a lot, because once those evolutions come online and you think about her maybe running a Ghost or an Exhaust, you're going to have all those tools available with your Flash. You're going to have the ult, you're going to have the invisibility. It's going to desync what Winnie and Young want to do, and that's constantly be trying to dive back and punish Bazby and Ralik. And at the same time, Bazby, he could just flip the script and ult on the other side and try and jump that Caitlyn and Lux and leave that Akali and Vi left hanging.
Now for Meech and Trevor, besides the Blitz, I do not see a very good situation for, or a bad situation for TFT here, unless they do get caught out, because Kai'Sa just low range, you can't really run up to wave here, so it's going to be a lot of probably slow pushing from this Caitlyn and Lux just to make sure Bazby and Breezy are stuck in this wave, and they get early rotations to everything they could want, whether it's an invade, or Drake, or they want a Herald, they can get their bot lane out there the fastest.
Exactly, right? That's the main point for this, TFT comp, is that they have drafted in multiple areas to be aggressive as possible out the gate. Level 2, early ganks level 3, potentially from Winnie. Young's Akali is going to be trying to press up onto Ralik, especially once ultimates come online. So that's kind of the most integral period of the game. Obviously, it normally is, Box Kimchi. It can be a big part of it, but I feel like this game is ever so present.
Oh boy, it's just CCG can try to get something with this Jarvan, because again, Caitlyn and Lux, very immobile lane. If they get this Jarvan down there early, they can do something to try and stifle the scaling potential, but it's going to be very difficult because they're going to have to find an opening there, and Winnie can also go very aggressive with the Vi, very, very strong and sustainable jungler, even with a handful of attempted invades that don't go their way. Maybe I'm switching over to Music needs to make the plays here, and Breezy needs to be the follow-up for Basby.
Well, there's 100 different ways this could play out, Box Kimchi, but there's only one way to really figure out. So we're going to take what I'm going to believe is a pretty short break here. But on the other side, we will be getting into game number 1, the first game of Aegis Champions League playoffs. Team Fish Taco and CCG Futures here, the home team looking to play upset. We'll see you guys on Summoner's Rift in just a bit. It all begins here, folks, and when I mean it begins here, I literally mean here, because we have a level 1 bonanza. There's no time for a break. Great cancel, though, from Surdy to make sure Breezy's hook doesn't go through, and now his CC Future is very much so on the back foot, because everything revolves around that hook. My God, a flash coming across there from Trevor, I believe that was. Yeah, Flash Ignite to try and get first blood. So no time to talk at all, Box Kimchi. They wanted to fight right off the bat, but when we look at the summoners across the board, it kind of ends up being an even trade, I feel like.
It kind of feels like that until you realize it was a 1-for-1 flash, but the flash burned on the side of CCG Futures was Rallick. So that Orianna can still try to harass, but will now just, once they know where Winnie's going to go around, just has to be so careful to not overstep and get hit by a flash Q from Vi and just end this lane state really badly.
Yeah, that is certainly, that is going to be tough, because we highlight the fact that, you know, Orianna, very stationary. A flash is pretty vital to all control mages. So Rallick already a disadvantage in a lane up against one of North America's, and at least developmental-wise, brightest with Young here. Could be LCS bound very soon. And already the punish coming out there. Top side, also going to be a slap fest. It feels like every one of these lanes is going to be, in somewhat way, kind of the Clasher League. We don't really have any snoozer lanes for this game number 1.
Maybe, I don't know. For me, Renekton and Cassante is kind of just a snoozer lane because they're both just going to hit each other for healing and then back up. And then just wait till they can throw all their spells out and heal and then back up. And it's just like, wait till 6 and then hopefully Cassante just throws himself at someone.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. So at least to level 6 for this top lane matchup. We do have Surdy doing, you know, it is kind of a debate point. Sometimes I see Cassante's run the flash. Some like to go Ghost Teleport. Funnily enough, the other guy that I've seen across Amateur this season so far that likes to run Ghost on the Cassante is actually Quacker. So funnily enough, he's going up against a guy who is liking to run that flashless Cassante.
I was told to never run. I was just told by someone specific who only plays Olaf top lane to just run Ghost. See how it goes. Just run Ghost. It's always great.
So it's a little biased though, right? Because like Olaf is the king of never run flash. So.
Oh yeah, he loves running in there and usually dying for it. I don't know why. No, whatever helps him play League.
You know, it fulfills Olaf's destiny, right? It's Ragnarok, right? And we all know Ragnarok is all about death and then rebirth. So it certainly plays.
Young playing very aggressive here. I like it. This is kind of what you could do to Orianna because she has no items and therefore has barely any damage available. You could really get some aggressive trades into an Orianna and force a ton of mana out.
And that's exactly what Young has been doing. The phase rush is going to be that keystone move from Rallick. I like that a lot. It is the usual standard from an Orianna for the Vi and Akali. Something we certainly expected here. We did get some early counter jungling going on here. Winnie got up and aggressive towards that blue side, got a ward down. Music is really wanting to get some pressure on this bottom lane. There's a flash hook landing. They get the knockup. It's knockup city, and that just leaves a complete island. Meech falls. It's first blood to Baz B. Music stayed bot lane for hours, and it finally ends up paying off for CCG Futures.
An incredible lane gank and great setup there by Breezy. Just knows what he wants to do, flashes and lands the hook, knows that it's Trevor, I believe. Trevor has no flash from the level 1 play, but Metro, oh my goodness, just jumping forward with no care, but now Winnie returns the favor, forcing the heal out of Baz B, and the chase down's going to continue here, but Winnie knows that they can turn it back if they really wanted to.
And Winnie did burn that flash, couldn't really get close enough. The heal, a big play there from Baz B. So Winnie dedicates the flash, can't really get a great answer. So bottom lane we talked about was going to be hyper aggressive for TFT, already kind of on the back foot here. They're going to at least get the shove in here for Meech to be able to get, you know, some sort of wave state. He got the wave in his favor, but I like the aggressive CC Futures. They had to come out early, and you can see how the mid lane's going. Got to get an advantage somewhere else.
They absolutely played that to perfection. I love Breezy's flash in there. Just good timings on the on summoner spell, on the singular summoner spell, and they burned almost nothing. They burned a heal and an ignite for that play, along with a blitzcrank flash, which is not super valuable compared to First Blood.
No, certainly not. Support flash, thing is worth like $1.
Now all out.
All out coming out though, top side. Quacker immediately flashes away to get some distance, and now looks like he wants to re-engage onto Surdy. Gets the stun across, slice and dice. Dominus popped. Surdy though has 100 dashes, so he gets right back over the wall here. And Quacker just gonna show some aggressive stancing, get a bit of a lane advantage himself, but no kill found.
I mean, that was just Surdy burning the ghost, so Quacker just is like, I could throw in my flash, or I could throw in the flash to dodge, and then just gets the level up off of the last minion before just running at Surdy and forcing him to back up. So, good trade sides there, to be honest.
Now allows him to get his own push in there. Teleport already used by Surdy, so Quacker is going to be able to really take control of that lane, at least from the minions' perspective, the lane pressure perspective. Speaking of teleports, Ralik has had to teleport himself back mid lane, so you've got kind of clear lanes playing out now. Quacker grabs himself a plate, that's going to be very valuable. But bot side and mid are two drastic kind of spots for CCG Futures. But Winnie does look like he wants to eye up this first Drake.
Can really do it. You saw that TFT, they were really setting up this slow push in to CCG Futures, but they have the numbers here, actually. If they land this hook, no, unless no steal, and there's no disengage available.
The hook,
that's going to be a kill immediately.
He does hook on to Trevor there, but Young's damage was just far too much. Completely blows Music out of the water, so that's Dragon and a kill for Team Fish Taco.
Music kind of overcommitting the play there without really planning it out, it seems. He threw in the Q in front of him to try and, I don't know, poke down the armor of the dragon, which you can't do. And then he doesn't have a way to escape because of that and doesn't use his flash in time. So just gives himself away and the dragon for really nothing.
Yeah, really not going to gain much there. Gives TFT a lot more of a foothold in this game. They also get that kill on Young on top of that, who has that Darksteel, who is just such a dynamic player on this aggressive Akali pick. It's just allowing him to punish Ralik even more. That CS lead starting to grow. And Young going to look to likely get out on the Rift and try and push the issue. Surdy pressing the issue topside here. He's got Quacker decently low, but these two top laners are known for a lot of things, and sustain is certainly one of the parts of their game. We do have Winnie and Young starting up this Rift Herald. They had the push in top and mid. Music and Quacker are waiting around here. All out available for Surdy. He spots out two. They're trying to cut Surdy off from the rest of his team. They have him pinched. Ralik is here, but it is Cassante. Goes all out, pulls Music into the pit where all of his teammates are waiting. The Shockwave doesn't have enough damage, but Quacker does. Gets the trade, big stun, picks off Winnie as well. Quacker going insane on the Dominus, picks up a double for Ralik. What a turn from CCG Futures.
Incredible play there from Ralik to just kind of know Music's gonna die for this play. Almost no matter what, Music is dead here. Throws the ball for the shield and then gets all out through the wall. Everyone jumps onto Music the second the all out lands, and Ralik just shockwaves everybody. So there's no follow-up on any potential jump in from all of CCG Futures, and they get one, and then they just lose everything. Look at that shockwave. Oh my goodness. Beautiful plays from Ralik and Music right there. And then the follow from Quacker's perfect.
Ralik grabbing both those squishy members. Winnie's Vi and Young's Akali not able to tank. and all out here. They are going to look for a topside dive here to try and get something back. Good flash to get the knock-up. Winnie lands it. Music looking for the trade. Winnie very low, but doesn't get the turret aggro. Does come across. Music will pick up that trade, but Surdy has him against the ropes here. More than enough healthy to go for this. No all-out available, but Night not needed. Flag and drag back towards the turret, and the smite onto the minion to drop turret aggro keeps Music alive.
I mean, that was a really good answer play from Music. Winnie and Surdy setting up a very, very good play, but Music's just there to make sure it goes awry enough that it still is even if they sacrifice Quacker for it.
And speaking of even, gold-wise, we're pretty even down the gate here. I mean, it is a couple hundred gold kind of differentiating these two teams here. Breezy, ever look present, looking for those hex flashes. That's constantly what he wants to do, be aggressive. Doesn't get that one on to Meech this time. Yeah, you got to look out for those neutral objectives, though. The game is at a bit of a lull state. You got that Rift Herald drop topside, so CCG Futures are putting a lot of onus on getting gold into Quacker. That next Drake is about a minute away.
A lot of onus.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't realize Quacker was the one that picked up the Rift Herald, so he wants to give himself gold box TMG.
Of course, come on, he's a top laner. He wants those turrets gone.
You do have that next Drake spawning in about a minute. It's where you want to look for. You can see already that Breezy is setting up that vision. That's half the battle when it comes to playing Blitzcrank, right? I mean, it's cool when you hit the flashy blind hooks where you weave a hook around the front line to maybe grab a priority target, but the real way you see those Blitzcranks get those priority hooks is by setting up vision. So a lot of wards set up in deeper positions to try and get Breezy a setup onto this Caitlyn or Lux, who are always going to be those high-value targets, but both teams really just prioritizing this Drake pit, getting the vision down with that Drake coming up in no time.
It's an Infernal Drake, so both teams want it. Obviously for damage, okay. I was going to say Quacker and Surdy throwing themselves at each other again, but it's free damage stats. Everyone wants those. Quacker's not going to make it in time if he backs. And CCG need to stop this dragon stacking is what I'm trying to say, if these two would stop staring each other down and trying to fight.
Oh, well, they're really trying to fight now. That's Dominus out. Quacker wants to win this advantage on the other side while the Drake is getting taken. He's going to get all out and not back towards turret. Surdy just going to use that as a retreat. Now the Drake is the priority here. Ralik is 2-0 on this Orianna, but not a ton of those itemizations coming through just yet to really give him that punch. Gore Drinker is completed here for this J4. Music trying to burn down the dragon, but look at Young on the flank. He has it set up, jumps over the wall. What a final spark. They've locked down the bot lane. Breezy and Bazby are deleted, and that's the fight wiped in an instant. Young will use the perfect execution to get back out, and it's another successful fight around the dragon for Team Fish Taco.
Incredible positioning there to force CCG to walk into them through the choke. Music was already pushed forward, and with Bazby and Breezy trying to follow up behind to get to defend their jungler, it just ended up that they all walked right into a beautiful magical light binding, not magical binding. And then just Young came in from behind, threw in the perfect execution. There was a final spark in there, and they kind of just pointed at them and they despawned.
Now you've really got an accelerated Young by this point. He's got that Proto Belt completed, has some Dark Steel stacks going for him, and this is not the guy you want to give gold over to. Quacker isn't the guy you want to give gold to either, but CG Futures are really going to try and do it. Surdy is out of mana. 3 people roam top. I didn't even realize, but they get Quacker another kill. So you're starting to see 2 big prevalent solo laners, 2 big superstars in the ACL, spoon-fed gold as we cruise on into this mid-game.
That's definitely what it feels like when your jungler tells you to just play safe. And that's exactly what happens after. Speaking of just play safe, Ralik just clearing out that wave in time to not meet the wrath of Winnie and a cease and desist.
But man, look at this bottom lane though, too. Box Kimchi for Team Fish Talk. We talked about how aggressive Caitlyn Lux is. They've now knocked down that outer, and they're pushing onto that tier 2, and it's allowing Winnie to get into those aggressive positions to try and punish Ralik with the flank arounds. Ralik's going to have to be thinking twice every time a wave gets close to crashing towards his turret that a Vi is just going to come right over the wall, lock him down with that cease and desist, and pick up that shutdown that Rallick also still has. The only one on CCG Futures with one.
And Breezy just takes a bit of damage there, getting caught up by Trevor and his very weak combo at this point of the game. But with these bot lane and mid lane swaps coming through because that turret has fallen, Leave is going to be in just such a better, because it's the safest lane with the longest range ADC in the game. Flash out from Trevor on the, I believe, Hex Flash hook from Breezy.
Yep, that's the Blitzcrank tax for you. If you're playing Lux, does so many things well, brings damage, shields, a lot of CC, but boy, she's a squishy champ. That mid lane pressure, though, along with roaming this bottom lane up with that turret down, is going to allow for TFT to finally pick up a Rift Herald. Didn't go so well the last time, but they will secure that second one. They are leaving Basby on an island with this Kai'Sa, so he's going to be able to get a lot of farm back up, smack into that turret before Surdy can roam over. So you're at least getting a pretty decent gold injection onto this Kai'Sa. We'll be taking that back. Got to assume it's going to get at least the tier 2 boots, if not a lot more, I would assume. Yeah, there's an immediate BF sword picked up for this Kai'Sa, going for those Navori quick blades. So that's a big itemization point to watch for as well. Kai'Sa all about, you know, catching those items, but also getting to those evolutions as quickly as possible.
I have no clue how Quacker's actually playing into an Akali right now, but Young hasn't made the impossible gameplay just quite impossible for Quacker yet, it seems. But now, I mean, both ADCs are in a good position. I do believe Leaf has a slight gold advantage, which just does suck. But the hook comes through, and Winnie
Goodbye, Winnie.
Get blown up.
That's what we talked about, Box Kimchi. If you have vision, Breezy can set up so well to make these picks. And that ward in the brush towards both sides of mid was just enough the shockwave to land it home. And maybe that's how CCG Futures are going to want to play. We talked about how they like their team fight on the top side of the map. You also mentioned they could also play through Breezy, and they just did right there.
They have an insanely good team fight comp with this Renekton, Jarvan, Orianna, and Kai'Sa, but they also have, yeah, an insanely good pick comp because 3 of those champions are also very good at chasing solo targets, so you gotta, I mean, not Slew, sorry, I saw it on Winnie's name and I said it, but Team Fish Taco, they're gonna need a lot of vision denial here to make sure that they just don't get picked before any crucial objectives and hand over gold and maybe even something more valuable. Thankfully, nothing was on the map, though.
Something will be on the map in 30 seconds. Drake stacking going very well for Team Fish Taco right now, and Inferno Soul will certainly feel nice with a Lux and a Caitlyn. They have Rift Herald, and they've roamed Surdy down here, really prioritizing this Drake. CCG Futures, they can afford to give this one. But put yourself in a dangerous territory. Giving up Soul Point at 18-ish minutes can be very, very dangerous. But like that last Drake fight, they just really can't get into the pit.
And now the Herald going down to create that pressure. I will say that is an error. That should be a Chemtech Dragon. That is just a small little goof.
Ah, yes.
It's
right,
not a huge deal, but whatever. They do take that mid-tier 1, so that's going to open up a lot of pressure for Leaf to just shove down the wave, and now Surdy jumping forward, but everyone's going to back up Baz B. Kathy and Rain onto Winnie, and now he's going to get cease and desist.
The final spark comes over, immediate heal as well, but Winnie's now way too far deep, has to jump right back out with the Vault Breaker. The Cataclysm won't grab him. Quacker's also on the back line. Surdy pulls him all out, flashes back forward. He wants to burn down the Lux, and he will get it. It's a trade. Winnie's out of the fight. It's a split fight across the board. Breezy is on the back line, but he's alone. He's just a support. Baz B's going to get dropped as well from the ace in the hole. A scattered fight is broken up by Team Fish Taco, and they'll claim the victory unless Rallick can finally burn down Surdy. That phase rush doing much of work. Gets the killing spree blow. Young far too low as well. Has to get crafty around the shroud, and he's shut down. Flash forward here from Meech, trying to be the hero 1 versus 2, but he's just a Caitlyn. Big time kills, shutdowns galore, CCG Futures.
What a re-engage for CCG Futures. My goodness, they find Surdy hunting a bit too far forward. I mean, okay, I guess we're gonna go back to the start, but they find Surdy hunting too far forward, and it's all over from there. And then Bazby gets jumped on, forced to heal immediately, and now it's a guaranteed split fight because you have all the way down there. You got your little Renekton on, you got Quacker down there, just trying to body 3 people and just doesn't work out, sadly. And then up top you have Vi just beating up a Kai'Sa, and then when they reconnect, it falls apart for Breezy. Uh-oh. And now we're back into a different fight.
Yeah, everyone got their quick resets with those death timers, and the Drake wasn't taking quick enough. Young does hit that shuriken. When he's looking for in, but Quacker has dominance. He just pops it. Final Spark is a fleeting hope. The Dragon is picked up. All that work there done by Quacker. Gotta fear Renekton by this point in the game once that dominance is popped.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Never mind. Cataclysm goes
for
in.
A re-engage, though. Outloud pulls it back. That's a big shutdown given over to Surdy. Junglers traded once more as they both overextend. These two teams, they're just fighting.
I was just going to say, CCG were able to win the Drake fight that wasn't really a fight because they got so many ultimates and summoners burned in the initial dragon fight. And then they took that to re-engage, but right when they went to re-engage, all those abilities came back up. So Surdy just went back into all out, but he's going to get hooked by Breezy here.
Oh, Breezy's at it again. Looking for pick after pick. Surdy looking to be the next victim here. Using the Baron Escher as a defense with a shutdown once more. Given over to Basby. Huge gold injection right when the Baron is ripe for the taking.
I don't think it's going to be a Baron take, sadly. I wish. Oh, I would love more teams to just go for 4v5 Baron throws because it'd be just fun to watch. But very good pick on to Surdy there. Just kind of forces all of TFT to reset. I think they were going to anyways, but there's definitely no hope they were going to push forward after losing their main tank.
This is the power of the Blitzcrank. It can be so pivotal. You're not finding those picks. Blitzcrank feels pretty, useless compared to a lot of the other supports in the current meta. But Breezy is making it work. Has found pick after pick. And a lot of those kills have gotten his carries over towards these itemization points. You've now got Basby 4 and 2. Has now hit that 2-item threshold. They've already completed. Ralik as well has to be near some sort of completion once he takes this wave in a back. I would assume 2 items for him. Quacker's at 2-item power point. This is where CCG Futures, they've got the items to win these fights outright, and hopefully they'll look to be aggressive with them.
Absolutely. But the thing is that Swordmail is going to be absolutely terrifying for Basby because he doesn't have any armor pen just yet. Winnie jumping in, trying to catch out music right there. Does not work out. But now they have control over this top river for the time being and will be able to get the vision control as both teams are just going to posture around the Baron here to see if they can get anything from either side. Maybe bait them in.
Yeah, that's the big prize. There's an ace in the hole just used to zone off Basby. But this is where you've got to set up. This is the big buff to grab for either team. 2,000 gold lead for CCG Futures isn't a lot. One Baron call, one fight could give it back to Team Fish Taco. With no Drake up, no, real big waves, punish and posture on the other side. That's where both these teams really have to look forward to and set up around. So far, Team Fish Taco have done a really good job just keeping CCG Futures away from another neutral objective.
And I was going to just mention it before this even started, but you saw the two teams pushing a lot harder, pushing forward a lot harder earlier, with Basby kind of just walking into the Vi in the end, and Cassante just walking forward and giving his life. But now that the Baron is up, both of these teams are playing so safe, no one wanting to be the player that cost their team a potential Baron.
Exactly, Boxing, because for TFT, if they give this, it feels like the game gets out of their grasp. They lose a fight, they lose this Baron, and for CCG Futures, the lead that they're holding on to will completely diminish away if they lose this Baron and allow Team Fish Taco to get those waves pushing, maybe grab that next Drake. And this is about to get a lot more dicey because that Drake is now a minute away from spawning. A lot of the players taking these resets, hitting those itemization points. Because at this point, regardless of what's on the map, there's going to be a fight of brewing when Dragon and Baron are both on the rift at the same time.
Ralik, okay, good, does take the back. I was saying Ralik really needs to take that back to get the second item, so he's not too far behind Young, who already had second item finished, but I guess Ralik was just clearing out some extra waves. Because, I don't know, honestly. Getting that pressure, answering waves is important, I know, but still. It felt like you should have just backed a bit earlier, but it doesn't really change much, sadly, or thankfully.
Yeah, it's the hard part with the pressure Team Fish Taco have with that tier 1 down. They still have their tier tier 1 up and really healthy. That's the benefit of Caitlyn Lux. So you can see CCG are just really trying to pressure it constantly, but they do have to be careful, right? You swung Quacker down, most of the team rotating bot side. Looks like CCG Futures, they'd like to try at this Chemtech Drake first. What does Team Fish Taco do? I mean, they have the power to just send it towards Baron if they'd like to try and swap it.
I think they do just have to answer this, though. If they don't answer this, not really that it's a worry about the dragons. Uh-oh. Music gets caught out, but is able to flag and drag away. And now Quacker in the backline's all alone. God damn, I was mixed up. But CCG, they can go for this, but Team Fish... Why do I keep messing this up? Team Fish Taco do kind of need to answer. You can't just give this over. The Drake is still pretty squishy compared to a later dragon, or what would be a later dragon, and they can just run up to Baron if they take it fast enough.
Final Spark is going to be up very, very soon for Trevor. That's the benefit of that Lux ultimate, so all ultimates available. Look at Music on this flank. He's not spotted out. Flag and drag. He has the Caitlyn caught. They're going all out for this Caitlyn. They're trying to get on a Meech, but it's a beautiful binding of Final Spark. Rallic way too low. Does end up picking out the kill to Trevor. Has to go gold. Quacker has eviscerated the front line, but so is Young. Takes out both of the carries on the backside. It's carries dying left, right, and center. The front line's the only one left, and now it's only Young left. Has to go crazy. A stopwatch pop by Quacker so low. The hook timing is perfect from Breezy to land the ace. CCG Futures with another climactic fight.
It felt so over for CCG Futures. I saw Rallic go gold and I saw Basby fall and I thought it was absolutely over. But then Metro perfectly zoning off perfectly zoning off Meech. Just has to back away. And then Quacker is barely getting hit here. They're putting everything into Breezy and Rallic. And so Quacker, just in this dominance, is able to go absolutely off because he's constantly generating free fury from being in combat. And then it's just Young left all alone. Doesn't have the damage to stand up to 3 members of CCG.
Oh boy, Breezy's got to be careful. He's going to love that extra spiced up blast cone. But yeah, I know you mentioned it. And then the entire mission for Music, because that flank, he was just pigeonholing onto Meech and didn't allow Meech to do anything with that Caitlyn. He ends up finally falling because everybody's forgetting about that Caitlyn, thinking about the other side of the fight. So Music, that flank, really doing wonders, taking out the real AD damage threat on this Team Fish Taco comp from the fight, and you see exactly how it plays out. A lot better of a footing now for CCG Futures. They've evened out the Drake count, sitting at about a 3,500 gold lead. And this is where you want a comp that not only we talked about Box Kimchi scales, team fights so well, but honestly scales even better compared to Team Fish Taco in my mind.
I can see some angles for it. Definitely Kaisa and Orianna, 2 of the famous scalers in the game. Renekton kind of falls off if he's not ahead, so... But good thing for Quacker, very ahead right now compared to the Cassante and most members on the enemy team. So this is where you should shine. When your team gets a lead in the top lane, Winnie just doesn't even go forward. Chooses not to, but now Quacker's here. GA, you gotta kill him 1.5 times. And Winnie just gets caught out.
And now Music, look, he's trying to get a flank of his own going. Punish TFT for their over transgressions. Ooh. Good trap there from Meech. Gotta think that's the only reason he's alive without that flash. The blast cones, though, can help Music close the gap. Cataclysm comes across, has to net backwards, but they're chasing down Meech, going all out for him. Another flag and drag, the killer instinct. Basby has arrived to claim another victim. Teleport coming out from Young. The real only damage threat left. All out from Surtees. Bold Music under turret. Goes gold in the stall. And now they're going to jump right on top of Young. He's already way too low. Has to go gold in the middle of all of them. Rallic claims it. CCG claims it again. They are winning fight after fight. And they're going to punch Team Fish Taco right in the mouth.
Team Fish Taco. I have no clue what's going on right now, but CCG Futures are just dominating this late game, this mid to late game now. And you could see it in the vision, really. They had no clue Quacker was rotating through the bottom jungle, and that just led to the first pick off of Winnie, and it was just dominoes after there, just easy chase down for a Jarvan and Renekton. And now they're going to convert that into a 4K and a Baron to put them ahead in a massive, I think it will be 7 or 8K now.
It might make it more. Quacker Looks like he might want to chase from kills. I like that he doesn't go for that. Would have been a little over-aggressive. The Dominus is actually just a zone. But yeah, I mean, look at the gold lead now. It is right up around 8,000. And you can see the biggest gold discrepancy of all of them is that top lane. I mean, it is a 4,000 gold lead almost for Quacker up there. But also jungle with about 3,500. That's where I feel like the biggest gap is. It feels like Winnie just really hasn't been able to get a lot out of this Vibe pick.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it kind of does come back to there's no real pair. There's not a pairing they pick. Akali and Vi are not a very they don't have great synergy outside of after Vi ultis. Pre-Vi ult, you might as well just be completely separate from each other and just see each other at the end. And it kind of does just show in their team fights. They pick a target, and Young has to run around to reach that target while Winnie's already there.
And now they also have these squishy members they can chase down. Music is an item and a half behind Music. You've got this Lux that's very squishy, can be blown up in an instant. There's just not a lot of cohesive team fighting for Team Fish Taco, and they're consistently having to answer CC Futures in these 5v5 scenarios. And they might have another one coming up soon, that next Chemtech Drake up in 30 seconds. And CC Futures, I like this a lot. They won't even let Team Fish Taco into the jungle anywhere near that Drake pit.
It is so hard. I mean, I'm visualizing the team fight for Team Fish Taco, and it's so difficult. There's 2 Guardian Angels already out for CCG Futures. Quacker already going to be getting a ton of value and health from the Dominus and healing, and you're going to need to kill him a second time. You're going to need to kill him half more, give him half his health bar and kill him again. And this Jarvan is just going to be so hard to shred through already with the Shojin, and the 3rd Drake is gone.
He's got a Gore Drinker as well. I mean, you've got GAs on the 2 members who sustain the best in those fights. The Team Fish Taco, they have no way to answer that Drake. Yeah, you talked about it. They try the fleeting cross-map play, get some waves jumped in topside, but those Baron-empowered recalls, the Baron waves, they make it so not even the Tier 2 falls. It really feels like Team Fish Taco, the only way back in this game is finding some sort of pick.
It's going to be really difficult to get a pick when you don't have anyone to pull into your team, which isn't the only way to get a pick, but Young can't really go off on his own right now. He's not nearly strong enough to face down 2-3 members of CCG alone and get a kill out of it. Oh, and Winnie just getting caught out. That's who you want to be walking forward for the most part, and Fazby on a rampage with that Acathian Raid.
Ooh, but Meej could flash away, does a ton of damage, but the GA will save Music, and now he's on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift, trying to run away with the Gale Force. Good hook for Breezy, the kill is found. The GA pays off for Music, 2 more picks, and this one feels all but closed off in the name of CCG Futures.
Music using that Guardian Angel beautifully, just full confidence in the Guardian Angel saving his life, and it does in the end. There's nothing that Team Fish Taco could do to even try to catch him out on a follow-up. Quacker gets thrown back with the Intofo strikes, but just walks away.
And now it really feels like the only real person they could try and pick off, you know, like you talked about, you have the tools to kind of dive back with this Akali, the Vi with the ultimate. You've got Ace in the hole for Meech if he wants it. Is that Orianna, but even Ralik has this Zhonya's to kind of buffer as well. And look at this. They set up a Death Rush to split off Surdy, and they're just going to chase down Trevor. That Lux is way too squishy and will fall, but it's left Fazby off on the side, and Young and Surdy will punish him. Shutdown comes across, but how much more can they get for it? They paid all their ultimates, all their health bars to do so, and Quacker is going to punish back, but Surdy won't stop fighting. The All-Out doing a ton of damage, pops the Gargoyles for extra damage. They have to get to Surdy to try and get him off the backline, and Quacker is here to save the day. Level 17, but Ralik actually falls. Shutdowns galore. Team Fish Taco have a window, but they can't account for the Quacker. They can't account for the Croc, who will save CCG in the darkest of nights. Quacker only left to chase down Winnie, the last one left alive, but nothing he can do to save this fight and save this game when Quacker's running wild.
I mean, they put everything into Bazby, which worked out so beautifully, but Young forced to use the Twilight Shroud on the wrong side of the wall and just has to jump out of it, and is just fully visible to Quacker and Metro, who just chase him down, or not Metro, Music. So, God, in-game names are annoying sometimes. But they just chase down Young, and then Cassante can stop yielding all he wants. Quacker is 3.5 items, and you're not going to be doing much damage to a Dominus Renekton anytime soon.
That did certainly get dicey. A little bit of a mispositioning there for Bazby. Ralik does end up falling as well in the back end of that fight. So there are shutdowns claimed, right? Those guys had big bounties. They are claimed, so some items will start coming through. We actually do have Surtees Cassante now on 4 items. He completes that Abyssal Mask. So he is a bit of a threat. You've also got Young on 4 items as well with this Akali. Azania is completed with that stopwatch. The Rabadons for some extra damage. So you have the itemizations coming through for some of these key members of Team Fish Taco. Not all of them, and that's the problem with Box Gift G.
And I'm honestly looking towards this ADC. Just the item dip is insane. A full item ahead for Baz B right now, and it's just absolutely brutal because that's where most of your damage is going to come out from throughout the whole fight. Young may have some incredible burst damage, and Trevor's going to find some nice chunks with that ultimate combo, but if your ADC isn't putting out that consistent damage and just can't do it, that's a full heart, sadly.
Exactly. To come through with a lot of that damage as well. CCG Futures with that team fighting comp can just set up first around this Baron. Good binding. They actually do have a bit of a catch there. They've got Bazby locked down once more, but he goes invisible to stay safe, and they punish Trevor, who falls. Young has to go crazy on the back line, but he's already chunked way too low and dropped. Double kill over to Ralik, and that feels like what could be a final blow to the fight already. All the damage down, front line burned away. Baron for CCG Futures.
They put everything into catching Baz B. It worked, and they got onto Baz. But Baz was just able to run away with the invisibility, and then when Young, they killed off Winnie, and then when Young came to answer the call, it was already way too late as all of CCG rotated back to save their ADC skin.
Ralik does pay the price once more, somehow in that scrum, but you're right. Bazby doesn't fall. They pick up the Baron, and they're also going to pick up the Chemtech Soul. And the Chemtech Soul with 4 Chemtech Drakes to get there.
Oh.
I know it's not the favorite soul right now, but man, that is just super inflated stats.
I'm gonna steal the words of one Captain Flowers. It is the worst of the super buffs, but it's still a super buff, no matter which way you cut it, so better to have the soul than to not have it.
Exactly, and if those fights still get low health, some of those squishies are jumped on Young, those extra resistances when low, it's going to do something. It's going to help out in some way. This game, though, still in control of CCG Futures' hands, but feels like they got to find a time to shut it out because these last couple of fights haven't been the cleanest. They do have the base broken open, but they've left Baz B out, deceptively to get caught. That was great magic binding, or light binding. I made your own mistake there, Box Kimchi. From Trevor. Yeah. To grab that pick. And does it feel just like they need a 5v5 and stack up because they're just so getting great together and just end this game?
CCG, yes. I thought you were asking about Team Fish Taco. Everyone's just jumping onto Surtee, but Surtee doesn't really take damage anymore. Unless you are an ADC. Yeah, Surtee walking away with still a 3/4 health, despite being in there for probably like 10 seconds is crazy. But it's just, you could really team fight here because Winnie just at 2.5 items is not the mega threat that you expect a Vi that you see in solo, like theVis you get in solo queue who are 3 items and able to just tank forever and constantly attack. But now Winnie jumping forward.
They're going for Breezy though. They're going for the support. How much will you expend to go for the support? Because CCG Futures will take all your backline out for it. Great knockup on the flag and drag. It's just a rout. Goodbye, Caitlyn. Beach and Trevor die in an instant. The pick was well placed there from Young and company, but look what it got them. Absolutely nothing else around the Rift. Baron powered up. CCG Futures will look to close out an upsetting game number 1 win and shock the ACL right at the start of the playoffs. And what a Void Seeker to stamp it off from Bazby.
Oh boy. CCG were just so far ahead. It was up. I mean, Team Fish Taco, they were just reaching for anything at the end of that game, even if it meant just jumping onto Breezy and hoping for the best, even if it didn't mean that you were going to be able to do much after it. You just, at that point of the game, you're like 10,000 down. You're just like, screw it. We got to get somebody and just hope this fight works out. And it didn't, but at least they had an idea and were able to execute like, we could throw something out and just go next if it doesn't work in the end.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And I had a diff, and Soul diff, Baron diff. How many diffs do I have to throw out here by this point? There were too much. You couldn't win that fight. But what a win for CCG Futures. I mean, they did such a good job steadying the course in the early game. I mean, the picks from the Team Fish Taco squad were there to punish them early. You picked Caitlyn Lux in the bottom lane to get an advantage. You picked the Akali, punish the Orianna, a Vi as well to try and punish those, stationary targets. None of that ended up mattering because CCG Futures, outside of a couple early fights, just looked way more polished.
They just came out the gate firing. They found a level 3 play in the bot lane with the help of music, and then they just rotated that. They lost a few fights early, as you mentioned, but then you just had Quacker, who just out of nowhere just took over this game, like 1 or 2 fights, and it was just a random Herald fight that no one expected to really go anywhere, and then just they catch out one, and it turns into a triple, just 3 for 1, and it just snowballed from there for CCG Futures.
And it snowballed into a game 1 win, Box Kimchi. But its series is not over just yet in our first upper bracket matchup of the day. We're going to go to intermission once more, reset, and see if Team Fish Taco can fix up their style for game number 2 like we're going to fix up this cam setup. We're going to take that break, though, to get that going. And we'll see you guys for game number 2 draft in just a bit. Welcome back, everybody. Apologize for the abruptness that we are actually already in a game number 2 draft here. You can see even Box Kimchi wasn't fully ready, but it's okay. We're into the draft. We'll have time to talk about it here. Team Fish Taco, off their loss, have decided to stay on that blue side. And looking at the draft reactionary-wise, B1 Orianna. They've got Surdy on the Jax this time with Cassante banned away. And interestingly enough to me, Box Kimchi, Music opting to play Vi after Winnie had the roughest game of anybody in game number 1 on the Vi.
Now, what I love about this, though, is CCG Futures drafted maybe Vi's second favorite partner to have in mid lane, Nico, who, if you land a cease and desist, or you land, I don't know, it's her Q, you could get a Tangle Barbs follow-up. Ball Breaker, yeah. You can get a Tangle Barbs follow-up or a Pop Blossom follow-up, only matched by Ari because she has the ability to run forward with her, but Nico also just insanely strong on her own, so great pick. Great pick, I love it. But the Sejuani Orianna is still pretty solid since they weren't planning to go for the Vi in the first place. It seems, at least.
Here's the problem. You gave Quacker Renekton again. I mean, come on, guys.
They think they got the answer, though. With the Jax, maybe they do. Maybe they think they have the answer?
Maybe they do. The Jax is at least going to be more of a side laning threat. But, I mean, it's hard. If you get one with Cassante, what's the answer?
I mean, I think Jax is in a stronger spot, but the question really is how cracked is Surdy at Jax, I guess. Basby, two very... I mean, 15 billion ADC bans. It is like the World Championships, and it's going to be the Zeri locked in.
Yeah, Zeri locked in here. So no Kaisa available this time around. Zeri's all... you can nerf her to the ground. It does not matter. This champion will always be playable as a late game scaling option. I like the Sivir a lot more from Meech, given the options available. If you want to play safer, you could opt for an Ezreal maybe, has a little bit more escapability. Sivir's not bad. You can spell shield at least some part of that Nico combo when it comes through. So Meech is looking to play a bit safer than with that Caitlyn from game number 1.
I was just excited. I saw Kalista hover. I was really excited for Kalista Renata. It's just such a fun bot lane to watch because it's Kalista. She's always a blast to watch. Come on. But it will be Sivir, who is
Exactly.
about the most boring besides Caitlyn, sadly, because she is farm to 400 CS and come in with 3 or 4 items. Rakan, on the other hand, that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, we did not get a Rakan from game number 1, despite the fact that I believe it went unpicked and unbanned, which feels like a rarity
Unbanned.
in the current state. Yeah, thank you, Box Kimchi. So I like to see it come through here. Trevor on a champion where he can just be more dynamic, right? I mean, Lux, what do you really got? You're trying to hit light bindings and get vital sparks. Outside of that, there's not a ton to do with Lux. So Rakan, there's a lot more playmaking to make, but the answer for Breezy here is the Alistar, kind of the go-to anti-engage support right now.
I would have liked the Renata into the Alistar. Obviously, they couldn't have seen this one coming, but Alistar also kind of we're going to sack wave prio here because I can't do anything until I get the ability to W forward. So Meech and Trevor can actually get a really good advantage here by slow pushing this wave, honestly, and stacking it and just forcing Bazby and Breezy under the turret. They can really delay that Alistar level 2 if they play this properly.
That's going to be something to watch for, nonetheless, here. But we've got an intriguing game number 2 here with an upset early on the cards. I don't think all of the ACL is watching, but they will be if this series goes the way I think it is. Keep in mind, folks, CCG Futures were the 4th seeded team out of their Zonian group. Team Fish Taco lost 1 series all regular season long to top the Noxus group. And while this is not an elimination game, these are best of 3s in the upper bracket. This win for CCG Futures would be a shocker nonetheless.
It would be absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm not going to use Real Sports because it would be no sense. But it's just a team that just snuck into the playoffs by a pair of wins, taking down a team that locked playoffs like week 4. It would be absolutely it would be incredible to say the least, especially as the first match of the playoffs. To send the second best team in the league to the lower bracket would be quite the way to kick off CCG Futures playoffs.
Oh yeah, and who would ever lean on traditional sports? Certainly wouldn't be me.
I would, but I don't think anyone. You gotta play to the audience.
I got all these the sports jerseys hanging behind me. I definitely never rely on sports. It's a real crutch. Well,
I have a blue wall behind me.
It's a nice blue wall. I like the color at least. You got that going for yourself. Well, speaking of crutches, Team Fish Taco, Game 2 is their crutch, and their only one to keep them alive in the upper bracket for this gauntlet of a playoff Aegis Champions League has provided us. But to do that, they'll have to pick up this win. So we're going to go to a break here after a shorter draft than normal and see how Team Fish Taco can try and rescue the series, or CCG Futures have put the Champions League on upset alert. Stick right with us. Welcome back, everybody, to the start of Aegis Champions League playoffs for CCG Futures. And boy, what a start it was. They're up 1-0 in our series. Team Fish Taco on the back foot, but still rolling as a pack as they look to get back into the series. And early on, just going to be able to spot out Quacker, get some invade wards down, but the pressure still on TFT.
TFT trying to, I guess, maybe find Quacker a bit closer to the wall, but suspects something's up when he sees 4 members of TFT and not the one who could jump walls. So, if so, very well played and good knowledge from Quacker there. I'm honestly impressed.
For playing the characters that can jump walls game, there are actually technically, 3 champions that can jump walls on Team Fish Taco?
Alistar can, not on his own, but...
I was talking about Team Fish
Jax
Taco.
And Rakan. Yeah, they got 3.
Yeah. But not the ones that would do it level 1. Which is only that pesky Rakan. I like their response over CCG Futures.
4.
They do. They do technically have 4 as well. So they win that category. Does that mean they win game 2, Box Kimchi? How much are you willing to read into it?
I don't know. Alistar requires someone else to be there an enemy standing on the other side, so maybe not. Who knows? It's 3.5 technically if we want to get into it.
We're getting technical, right? The warding, though, pretty technical from both these squads. CC Futures, I like the bot lane. They did get that ward on the red buff for Winnie, so they know that Winnie is starting bot side. They have at least some idea of a path, and maybe we'll see Breezy get a little bit more aggressive level 2 because they expect Winnie to be on the other side of the map once those levels come online.
No Krugs here for Winnie either. Actually skipping over it, and Breezy's walking forward. And there's the Alistar Insect, the brute force one. And now so much damage onto the Sivir. And all Breezy did was burn, flash, and ignite.
But here we go, Winnie. They knew he'd be top side, but they didn't know he'd be this far aggressive invading. Flashes get the stun. Metro immediately has to flash back over, Music. Breezy on the other side flashes once more with the Hex Flash. It's flashes galore in game number 2. But nobody's dead just yet. Meech, though, getting some solid autos back out here. Bazby getting very low. Flashing Knight forward. The cleanse on the Ignite isn't enough to save Bazby. First blood to Meech and T-Fish Taco.
Oh my goodness. There's just everything happening. And now Rolix landing combos and Quackers dodging counter strikes. And all of that play comes down to Trevor just not even predicting the flash, just jumping onto Breezy with the grand entrance and hitting Bazby by accident. Just to save, just barely saving his ADC from near death.
So very close, but still a painful blunder, or at least a painful death. You've now got Summonerless Bazby on this Zeri. Going the Cole down a level up against this Sivir. We give a lot of onus, a window for T-Fish Taco to play through here. The question becomes, how much can they turn into with that real estate on that Sivir? Winnie getting that invade, stealing away the red buff of Music as well. The early advantage we expect from T-Fish Taco in game 1, starting to show in game number 2 when they need it a lot more.
Oh my goodness, what is going on now? Ralix bought enough time here, actually. Is Winnie going to fall? The burn on Ralix is so much.
They've got him.
He's going to secure the kill with an auto and an airy.
Yeah, and Music's going to try and get a trade kill onto Winnie, but the slows, the Vault Breaker has to land, but it's tanked up by Young. Teleport coming across from Ralix to get here and try and help, but Winnie not low enough. No flash on Music, no trade found. Winnie playing a lot more aggressive after a very shaky game number 1, and it is cashing in.
CCG are just narrowly not getting these trades. I swear, it's like milliseconds and units, or Teemos, I guess, just away from securing any trade kills or any first bloods. It's just brutal to watch.
And it's put them in a sizable hole here, over about 1.5, 1.4k gold down at 5 minutes. Is pretty massive. You also have the 2 kills on the 2 champions you want them on if you're T-Fish Taco, Orianna and Sivir. You can see the Sivir already getting those 2 long swords. A lost chapter already grabbed for Young immediately on the teleport. So clear advantages early on here for T-Fish Taco.
And you look at the CS diffs on most, everywhere but top lane. We're going to ignore top lane. And the CS diff is absolutely massive. Both are Young and... Why can I remember? Meech. Why can I never remember the name? Meech are both ahead at least a wave and a half, and that just, well, yeah, actually over a wave and a half, and that means a lot when you're playing champions that need to scale pretty hard.
And the farming is the name of the game for a champion like Sivir and Zeri. So, you mentioned it. It just reinforces the leads even more here. Means Quacker's going to have to be a focal point going forward unless Music can create something, but it's all aggressive from T-Fish Taco. Breezy getting chunked down low here. They have Winnie hovering as well. Posturing very well to try and take this first Drake. Winnie will jump right on it. Guy has that mid and bot prio. No real window to contest if you are Music.
Now, CCG are pretty down and out early, but any Zeri moment can happen in like 20 minutes, so we'll check in then, I guess, to see if a Zeri moment has happened. But with the lead Quacker had, past tense, currently kind of has, depending on if he catches all the wave that is currently crashing. And with Rallick and Metro still just being... Oh, never mind. I'm going to shut my face as Breezy gets jumped on here.
Knocked up, runs away though to safety, but has to burn that flash. Trevor a lot more comfortable on that Renekton. Quacker comfortable on his Renekton. Counter-Strike stun comes across here. Quacker with the Dominus. Needs the Slice Dice to come back up, and a good hop over to his minions will keep Surdy safe, so no death to be found, but gold still to be found bottom lane here for Meech and company as they pick up a turret plate and crash the waves.
Quacker could have flashed. I don't know if he should have, but he could have. And I'm kind of glad he didn't, because he probably would have died. But Metro's up here now, actually. Are they looking to try and catch out Surdy here?
They have the cease and desist, but Music pulls a turret aggregate, stunned by Counter-Strike. Really well played by Surdy to avoid the dive. CCG Futures continuing to just fall flat with these pick plays. It's all up TFT right now until Breezy Hex flash over, gets the Tangle Barb into the Pop Blossom. The Shockwave response is good from Young, but there's not enough damage over top. Rallick needs a couple more autos. The shield from Young may be enough, but the empowered auto from Rallick will finally put CCG Futures on the board thanks to Breezy.
Oh my god, that was 2 solid plays. You did say that Surdy played that insanely well to avoid death. Does expel his flash though, but Jax does have hop, so it's not the end of the world if they try to jump onto Surdy, and Surdy can still get away. But now they're gonna turn the favor with a 3-man in top lane instead.
Oh, good flash from Quacker, but he still gets stunned, and the knockup and stun chain is just too much. Gets the healing, but one more empowered auto from Surdy this time will also claim the kill there. Quacker falls early. Divas Taco are rolling.
And another play where it could have gone the other way, but Quacker actually flashed before he E'd, but flashed through everybody. So Dice never came up because he didn't hit any enemy champions with Slice. So he just could never use the second cast of E, and it just locked him into guaranteed death almost, unless he really got lucky and all of TFT just turned around and gave up on him after he got his heal.
They certainly did not do that. And they also,
good for them.
Winnie just having a, yeah, right? And Winnie's having a great bounce back game so far here. I mean, it's just 2 assists to his name, but he's now impacted, it feels like, every lane, especially top and mid here. He's picked up first Rift Herald, first Drake as well. Really taking a hold on game number 2. He does not want to go down in the lower bracket, Box Kimchi.
Yeah. They put Winnie on a champion that was more inherently tanky than Vi, which is pretty tough to find because of blast shields, but they picked up the Sejuani, and with that passive and the ability to just run around and jump over walls and have permafrost, Winnie's just been so active on this map. Lost a Rift Scuttle. Tough smite fight.
That's a win.
Besides
we'll take that
that,
of your music.
Incredible.
Yeah, music will take it. I mean, he needs something here. He's got a CS lead. That's his real only lead. He's getting matched here by Winnie. His music was looking for something mid, had cease and desist, but is assuaged by Winnie. And now top side gets a lot rougher for Quacker. You get that kill over to Surdy. He has that Caulfield's Warhammer and that Sheen. But top mid, good pick there from Rallick. Immediate Glacial Prison, good flash from Rallick as the response. Young able to stay alive, keeps his flash up, unless Breezy's going to try and contest him. They're getting knockups onto Winnie, trying to burn him down. The Shockwave is too late to save him. Pick CCG Futures.
And that was, I thought it was going to be a big misplay from CCG there. It seemed like Music and Breezy were just going to walk away at first. But I guess them going off vision kind of encouraged Winnie to run forward or try to position them off, cut them off really. And it just resulted in the ability to turn back onto Winnie and secure the second kill here. And a second takedown for Rallick, which is going to be huge to get him back into the game.
Kill did actually over to Music, but that's certainly going to feel good as well. Quacker pops Dominus. Grandmaster Smite is the response. Surdy and Quacker going at it once more. Surdy very low, no flash available for either of these guys, and Quacker just can't close the distance well enough. Surdy doing such a good job to distance from this Renekton with Dominus and will not fall.
And that's going to suck for Quacker because Renekton without Dominus is significantly worse than Jax without Grandmaster's Might. Because it's just, Jax has Counter-Strike and that incredible passive on his ultimate, and Renekton has bonus Fury generation in ultimate passive, I believe. So, it's going to be a waiting game for Quacker for now.
Not a winning game for the next Drake to spawn here. Mountain Drake is the second one. Winnie sitting on a ward, but he still at least does have that bot prio. teleport back top lane from Surdy. Quacker has TP advantage. That's something to keep in mind here as this Drake spawns. He's already going back towards turret, looking to teleport. Does CCG Futures want to try and take a 5v4? Maybe, but they just don't have enough control over this pit to even get close.
Yeah, Basby took his back. You see Music up in the top lane. There's just no real interest in this dragon. It's not a soul. If it was a mountain soul, they would probably be a bit more urgent, but it is just a singular Drake, which isn't the end of the world to drop.
It stings a little bit more box games because they had a ward in that pit that wasn't seen. I mean, it would just been a beautiful teleport ward for Quacker. Didn't have Dominus either, like we talked about from that earlier exchange, so maybe that plays a factor into it as well. But it's the second game in a row here where Team Fish Taco come out the gate and they grab both of those first two Drakes, but at least this time around the gold lead isn't as massive for Team Fish Taco. CC Futures have been able to pull this one back a bit more.
And that means that CCG are going to win this game because it's going to be exactly the same. The pattern of one will continue.
Exactly.
Probably.
What could possibly go wrong?
Who knows? Everything, but nothing. And wait, did the Rift that seems like a bit of oopsies. I think Winnie wanted to go for a dive there with the Rift Herald on bot lane, but Shelly said no.
That's such a big blunder. The turret stays up, and now the Lightning Crash Basby, they're going after Meech. Flashes away, has on the hunt as the speed ups so low, but the COD heal is enough. And now Winnie's here, the teleports come through. Young arrives on top. Team Fish Taco, they nearly lose their AD carry, but they stave it off, and they're going to get 2 in the name of TFT in response. Beach grabbing that last one. Disastrous turn for CCG Futures.
And it all came down to Trevor, who finally gets to play a champion in this set that is actually able to have an impact outside of throwing out random spells and hoping for the best. That is it was just an incredible quickness to really just stall for Winnie and Young's teleport to come through, and it made it the world's hardest 4v2 because they already burned everything to try and chase down Meech in the first place. So that's so much burned for a very lost play.
And with that first turret gold, with all the plating coming off, I mean, look how ballooned the gold lead got. I mean, it went from 200 gold to 2.5k gold in an instant. A lot of that funneled onto Young. He didn't get the kill, but he gets that first plate. I mean, first turret with the plating. And now you have Meech on the Sivir, 2-0-1, 2 big threats. Quacker's going to be the threat for CCG Futures, but what a knock-up and a counter-strike stun. Breezy's here first. Now the teleport advantage is in CCG Futures' favor. They're going to get here first. Trevor's so low, but able to escape. Ralik looking for the Pop Blossom. They have Young. They've picked him. The Shockwave won't find anybody. Big-time kill. Young now getting jumped on by Quacker. Cleanses the stun, but he's chasing him down. But can he get the damage across? He's being sewed and killed off. And the turn now coming for Team Fish Taco. Ralik way too low to continue using the clone to try and buffer. But does Sturdy look for more? Ward hops over. Trevor is here, gets Shoe charmed up with the quickness. Ralik and Breezer are now cut off. Baspy's over the wall, but he might be the only one to survive. Ralik trying to zone and trade out. Trevor killed off by Meech, who picks up his 4th kill of the game.
Oh my goodness, it started out so well for CCG. I mean, even after the airborne, they had the numbers advantage. They had the ability to turn it. Music getting chased down, gets the counter-strike onto him, and the big bonk with the Empower will secure the kill. Now Basby chasing down Leaf, but he can't hit anything. The moves from
can't hit it.
Meech. Oh my goodness, the moves from Meech stalled for so long, and he got the kill, but he walks into turret range at the last possible second, and it will be a massive shutdown to Zeri. My goodness, this game is just off the rails after that one fight, and as I was saying, CCG, it started so well. Bloody game. But it started off so well. They thought they found a pick onto Surdy or Trevor. And then the rest of CCG come in. They think they have Meech down, and they're all able to escape. And the big issue is Music ran off to chase the Rakan instead of sticking with the team, which just allowed all of TFT to collapse on the remaining members of CCG in the river, and it's fallen apart for TFT. Or not for TFT, for CCG. Whoops.
Yeah, I was going to say, Team Fish Taco, great spot. They're up about nearly 3,000 gold. They have the Drake count in their favor, and now They're looking to take the next Rift Herald. The Music's looking to go mid here. They want to kill off Meech. They desperately have been trying to get this Sivir all game long. Can they finally do it? They will, but what will it cost them? Surdy is teleported right on top of Bazby. Counter-strike, that's a dead Zeri. Music picked off in the background as well. So you get the Sivir, but it costs you double.
Oof, it's the Hail Mary play we kind of saw TFT jump into last game. Just try to pick somebody off and hope for the best, and unfortunately for CCG, they actually played that very well, specifically on to Meech, using the smite to block or to eat the spell shield so that the stun from Cease and Desist would land. Pretty well played, but I mean, they had a teleport ready. They were all sitting in the river pretty much waiting to jump CCG for finding a Sivir alone.
It just isn't worth it at the end of the day. Meech doesn't have a shutdown anymore. Sure, you get a kill on an AD carry, that's nice, but you lose 2 more in response, and you give them the Rift Herald, you lose top tier 1, you're going to lose mid tier 1 as well when Shelly crashes for the second time into that mid turret. Grabs that one. TFT have done a great job not only just getting these kills, responding to pick plays, but picking up all the neutral objectives and towers around. Music is going to try and desperately get this Drake, but all TFT is here. They're just going to burn Music before he gets smited. Drake picked up, big pop blossom, but who's there to capture it? Nobody. Relic falls. Bazby with lightning crash pop, but Surdy is right on top, and Quacker gets one back on the back line, but isn't enough? No. The rest of Team Fish Taco will arrive to clean up the fight once more, and ace and a rout in game number 2 in the name of TFT.
CCG just looking for anything at this point. They thought maybe they could get the dragon at least while they pushed in mid, but TFT just all ran down. They were prepared to answer the fight. They steal away the dragon. They ace CCG. It was a nice pop blossom from Ralik, but as you said, no one's there to follow up the damage, and they just walk forwards in the end to secure all 5 members of CCG are back in spawn.
And you can see Quacker try to do the same antics he did last game, diving back, but Trevor's Recon doing a lot more real estate than the Lux did, right? It's not just one binding and maybe a slow. It's knockups, it's shields and healing, it's a charm on the quickness. It just buffers Quacker's combos, and he can't burn down Meech as quickly as possible. And sure, he can pick up that kill onto Meech or onto Young, but by the time he gets it, where is his team? They're all dead.
It's going to be so difficult to get the Zeri moment to happen. You're 29, almost guaranteed to be 30 CS down at the end of this wave. Your Renekton can't really do much of anything because he's 1 item. He's 1.5 items, and that's a uncharged Titanic or Ravenous. And now just everything thrown into Quacker. Not going to be able to escape. Just thought he was going to, but the Glacial Prison comes out, and now Surdy is unstoppable.
Surdy 5-0-3 quietly has done an amazing job responding. This is just kind of a resounding team win so far for Team Fish Taco, and with no back from Ralik shoving in bot wave, why not take this inhibitor turret for free? 20 minutes, the base broken open for CCG Futures. I don't know if they'll lose their inhibitor. They should, with nobody backing still to help out Music. Yeah, that's the top inhibitor down. They can't even get a return on the mid turret as Bazby will have to jump over the wall to get away from Surdy. I mean, this one just feels done and dusted.
It absolutely does. I mean, there's just no angle really for CCG here at all. Breezy, you're walking too far forward into the darkness. You got Fnatic Death Rushed in, of all people. Trevor, the Recon on a killing spree, and it's falling apart. And I was going to say maybe CCG just let them take the inhib, get Baz some farm up in top lane, but then they just get absolutely baited into the darkness, and now it's a Baron for Team Fish Tacos.
Yeah, well, you said you liked 20-minute Barons for throws. I don't see a throw coming this one. I mean,
There's
they're
no
zoning
throw.
real well.
It's just a 20-minute Baron.
Yeah, exactly. It's not burning too quickly here. Music's trying to find some way in, but the zoning is just so well played here. I mean, good luck getting through Trevor, Cerny, and Young to get into the pit. Quacker's going to pop Dominus. He's looking for something. Flashing on top of Young, trying to burn him down, but he's popped and bopped by Surdy. See ya later.
Music stole it.
Stolen away by Music in the background. So it's a success at the end of the day, but how many can leave with that Baron buff? Ralik's already fallen. Music dead as well. Breezy soon to fall on top of that. So Music with the heroic steal, but it only lands on the Bazby's hands.
It's Bazby, and that's a Jax, unfortunately, staring down your only Baroned up member for 15 more seconds, really. Because I don't think Alistar's going to turn the tides here. You got to try and... You're going to be able to stall, maybe. I don't know. This base might fall.
Wow. They're going for the end box, Kimchi. They teleport Young in. Lightning Crash from Bazby, just using that to try and stall. Quacker's back up. They're going for it all with the Nexus turret, so they might be going too far. It's already far too low. They're jumping on top of Trevor, who jumps right back towards his team. They can't go out this way. There's turrets waiting, so they turn and fight. Music is burned. Breezy, big knockup, but who's there to follow up with the damage? Nobody jumping that far forward. Good shockwave to keep Ralik off the back line, but Quacker's here as well. Slice Dice finds one kill. Breezy able to pick up another onto Winnie. Knocks Beach right back towards the turret. Shutdowns galore. TFT bite off too much.
It is absolutely... That was a skinnier teeth kind of fight win because it was very, very close. I mean, if Ralik took just probably one or two more autos from Meech, this is a game over situation for CCG, but... They just are able to get the two major carries that aren't named Surdy in the ground, and it's base defense time, as this should just be a free Breezy, are you going to solo the Drake? No, okay. Teleport work. Very well played. Good job. I was like, hold on.
They're committing towards it. They double TP in here.
The double teleport. The legendary play. And Breezy's
out.
Health is
going
gone. Oh, that's not Breezy. I've been baited.
Okay, wait, hold on. Trevor, there's the Pop Blossom. He's trying to get the charm. Surdy's here as well. They've stalled for Winnie, but it's not stolen away. Music gets it. Bazby arrives, has the Lightning Crash, but they just can't get the damage down. Big shockwave from Young. Quacker can't find any of these kills. Surdy finally falls, but he's the only one to fall. The rest wiped up. The gold lead is just too much. The item diff too much. Game 2 over. Team Fish Taco were taking us the distance to kick off the ACL.
It was a valiant effort from CCG, a trio of fights that kind of maybe barely worked out, but in the end, TFT just were able to hit them with the 3-item Sivir, 13 kills on it, massive shockwaves from Young, and we're going to Game 3. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm surprised we're going to Game 3. I'm just surprised it was TFT that had to win Game 2, and they made it look easy this time.
Yeah, that game was a complete rout this time around. 24 minutes, you mentioned it. Meech was 13 kills at 24 minutes on Sivir. I mean, you don't win games when you let that happen. That's exactly how it played out. So, great response from Expected to look very polished. This is the #1 team in the Noxus division. Their only loss on the season was an unfortunate forfeit. So they actually haven't lost a best of 3 yet this split. And they're aiming not to do so today here after that rousing Game 2 win.
I did say it was kind of going to be on how good is Surdy at Jax. The answer is very good at Jax, as just didn't even give Quacker a chance in this game. It was barely close. Besides in CS, it was just a complete rout. I mean, everywhere, but in the top lane especially.
Yep, great response from Surdy on that Jax. Great bounce back game from Winnie as well. That Vi came up short in a lot of its picks early in game #1. Winnie's Sejuani was masterful early, masterful mid and late game on the Sejuani. It's the polish you expect from the teams at this tier 2 level caliber. The question is, can they get over the finish line here? Because CCG Futures are going to have a chance to respond. They're going to have side selection as well to cook up whatever draft they like the most. We're going to go to a break and come, hopefully, at the start of this next draft here to see who is moving on in the upper bracket and who is on elimination watch in the ACL. Time to close out our first match of CCG action here in the ACL playoffs. Somebody is moving on in the upper bracket, and somebody is on elimination watch. Time to find out if it's Team Fish Taco, your #1 seed out of Noxus, CCG Futures looking to play upsets. We're into the game number 3. Draft your CCG Futures are going to be on the blue side for the first time here. The question becomes, Box Kimchi, what do they want to be won?
They're already getting rid of the Jax. I don't know. It's been B1. No, it has not been B1 top lane. I'm talking out of my butt. It has been a Cassante and an Orianna B1 for TFT both times. And it really depends. Do they want to get Music a power pick, or are they going to try and get Quacker his Renekton, even if it didn't work out with the Jax ban now?
They do have it up. It is available. Cassante also slips through. Quacker, also a big Cassante player. I mean, at this point in the meta, if you're a tier 2 top laner, you have to play Cassante pretty well. I mean, that's just how it is. So Quacker certainly knows how to play Cassante. Yeah, you know, honestly, every level you gotta play Cassante. You're playing top lane, your solo queue, either be banning it or playing it. Interesting. They're gonna slam Sejuani, so they do give a power pick to Music.
Could be. I mean, with that Jarvan and Maokai ban, that is pretty much the strongest jungler you could get your hands on in terms of just raw power, non-situational combos like Vi or Lilia withstanding, obviously. But what is the answer for TFT? They can answer. Oh, can answer bot.
Wow.
Laner at least, not even support yet, but that's a bold pick for the trends we've seen in this series.
Yeah, you bring it up, Box Kimchi. Last 2 drafts, bottom lane. Not AD carry, not support. Bottom lane was saved for the second phase of bans, or second phase of picks. So the first time we see either team really prioritize the bot lane earlier on in the draft here. Meech wants one of those AD carries that is left up here, and he'll get his Aphelios, late game scaler. Wukong is seeing a bit of a resurgence alongside the normal junglers. I mean, he's always been pretty high up there, but Winnie will be picking up that Wukong as a likely answer to the Sejuani from Music.
The Ashe is not what I would expect into the Aphelios, but interesting hovers. I do think this is going to be a trade of bot lanes, and is that locked in? That is locked in, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It
does seem they're going towards this top lane, though, for Quacker. Again, the Renekton.
Yeah, they're going with the Renekton, so they like the Renekton side of the matchup more than the Cassante. I mean, you saw it happen in game number 1 when it was Surdy's Cassante versus Quacker's Renekton. Certainly went in favor of Quacker there, so they will grab that one.
Oh, and the lightning rod.
Haha. This is a Surdy-esque pick. He is known to play a pretty mean Kennen. And for Surdy, I like this switch up, right? Because, yeah, sure, Cassante's very overpowered, but you lost that matchup to Renekton once. Quacker knows how to play up against Cassante on the Renekton. You got to throw him something different.
And this is going to be really big for Surdy here, just getting that AP pick as well, so they can actually go in AD mid if they really want to. I don't think there's any AD mids really in rotation, unless you're really willing to play Yone, but that's, again, really situational. Would be it's NA Jace. I never put faith in NA Jace, but the option is there if they do believe in it. If they do believe Young is a great Jace player or has the ability to set up on Yone, they can go there with that AD mid.
It wouldn't fit too well into the comp that they've put together so far. They once again are looking very team fighty. I mean, they've locked in 3 champions whose ults are all circular and all about blowing up team fights.
Yes.
So they're rolling the circle comp. I mean, you've got Moonlight Vigil, Cyclone, and Slicing Maelstrom.
Slicing Maelstrom. There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jin, what the heck is that ban?
All right.
I mean, I know it's specifically just for the Ashe, but what the heck?
I guess they're afraid of it. I wouldn't fear it, especially in the current meta, but that's the ban they give.
Rakan Milio, I would be scared of those champions. They are terrifying in the hands of any good support. Milio, I guess, less skill expressive, but with a Aphelios is very scary.
Okay.
AP
Silas
heavy,
is the hover and the lock-in, so yeah, they do go very AP heavy. They get that Silas. There are some great ults to steal away. That might be the factor.
Okay, so That is true. Dominus and Glacial Prison and Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Dang. Jealous. Especially with the AP scaling on Ash Ultimate, where you can just fire it down lane and just hope it blows somebody up. Oh.
Very true. Certainly very true. I will say for CCG Futures, actually just CCG in general, it's more the main squad. Lunar does love Jhin. He had some pop-off games. If you haven't checked out the Aegis Champions League playoff teaser video, there is a clip of him getting a quadra kill on Jhin this season. So if you haven't checked that one out, I would recommend it. Anyways, so it's still a weird Jhin ban. Talia, I like that for Ralik. Very powerful champion currently. A lot of roam ability, a lot of disruption ability as well, especially up against a comp that is going to look to kind of chain their ultimates together. And then Breezy locks in the Rel to lock in just a ton of crowd control in the bottom lane for CCG Futures.
So what is the support? Because I was going to say, I thought Breezy was going to go towards a Renata, but I was not expecting Trevor to go towards a Renata in this situation. Alistar probably, unless they got a Naut. Unless Trevor could play Nautilus, I think it's going to be Alistar not here for the support pick, and it will be the cow.
Yeah, both those hovers are just the tried and tested answers in my mind to Rel right now. So Alistar is Trevor's flavor instead of the Renata. And here we are. We've locked in our compositions for game number 3. A pressurized start to the ACL playoffs nonetheless here. And both comps have, you know, does it feel, it feels like to me the pickability, you know, of this CCG comp, wrong way, CCG comp versus Team Fish Taco, who kind of just set up for another Wamba.
I'm intrigued by, I'm still on this Ashe pick, because usually you only see Ashe as the support to Varus with Renata and a counter to Kalista specifically. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes for Baz. Maybe Baz has been cooking this Ashe pick all season long and is finally ready to whip it out with a support that would love any character to make it easier to chase down, because dear God, is Rel famously slow during some phases of the game. So at least it'll make Breezy's job a bit easier.
It does set up for them to try and make plays across the map, right? I wonder if they've picked this Ashe, they've picked this Talia to try and maybe target a lane in the early mid game and try and accelerate it. We saw what happened when they accelerated Quacker in game number 1. He became unkillable. Even in fights where they lost Basby early, they lost Ralik on a shutdown. It didn't matter because Quacker was insanely ahead. So they draft Ralik and Basby to, you know, maybe fire some arrows up top. Weaver's Wall, Ralik up top to be a support, to try and get a dive set up, something like that. It's not a bad strategy to feed a guy who looks like one of the best in tier 2 when it comes to top lane, and we're playing in tier 3.
And it's just, I really do see a hard time limit for CCG Futures here, because that cannon is going to only get stronger. Aphelios is a hyper carry in like every definition of the word, and Silas, every time, he's just going to be a menace because he's just going to be stealing more and more ultis. As he reaches that level 16, the cooldown basically stops existing, and he's just going to have all these these super ultimates in his hand. So you got to win probably before 30-something minutes if you're a CCG.
It's an aggressive stance. This is the 3rd time the blue side has taken an aggressive stance early in this series. It's the first time CCG Futures have played in that style. And we got to see how it plays out. CCG Futures, they had to work so hard to get here to this point, to get to playoffs. And now they have to work even harder to put the league on notice with an upset win in the upper bracket. We're going to find all that out on the other side of the break. This game 3 is just on the horizon.
Oh boy. Oh, the flank. Oh, they saw it. Dang it. I was excited for a flank. He will. And Breezy has Hex Flash because Rel, so Breezy doesn't care, like, at all. And so it's an overall win for CCG Futures.
Yes, and I just realized that Mr. Box Kimchi could hear me the whole time, but I'm a silly man, and I muted the wrong mic and unmuted the other one. I'm here now, stream. Apologies.
Oh, did you
takeaway
mute Discord?
is
Oh,
yes. I swapped
oops.
them. I swapped them, but luckily, lovely Orgoner Crim caught me. Thanks, Crim. Appreciate you.
Saved this from being
Big
a very
takeaway.
silent cast.
Yeah. The saved from missing one half of it. The takeaway though is Breezy gets caught, but then actually gets Winnie to burn his flash. So you take those
W's. And now Breezy doing my favorite thing in the game: mount up against a wall, so you can or dismount against a wall, so you can have mount up later.
Yep. That's what he's looking to do with the Rel. Surdy, for once, is finally having some lane pressure topside. He's going to run the comment on this Kennen just for extra poke. Just trying to not allow Quacker to even get comfortable early. So, oh, sorry. Yes, Airy. Similar poke strategy, though, you know.
Incredible. Similar. Yes. Throw things at the melee champion and see what happens. Yeah, there's level 1. My goodness, Quacker just getting absolutely bodied. Finally gets to get level 2, so has the slice and dice probably. Yup.
Still getting poked out. Both these junglers have path mirrored. Winnie getting jumped on first. Good stun coming across here. Surdy rotates over, has the health advantage. Quacker had to walk the long way. Music gets stunned up, very lost a flash, but one more flash auto. First blood over to Surdy, and they might be able to turn on to Quacker here. He doesn't have enough health to even contest for the trade. Mid laners now roam over. Young abducts onto Rally. Good seismic shove back to keep himself safe, but it's Team Fish Taco once more out the gate first early.
That was just Music not respecting lane prio at all. Surdy had a massive wave stacked up that Quacker pretty much had to answer no matter what, so I'm honestly confused as to why Music pressed so aggressively. Got the trade onto Winnie. You should have just left after that, because there's no chance your Renekton's going to make it in time.
He pays for it. Rallick really paid for a trade onto Young there, but another good seismic shove will keep him safe. Very low on mana as well. Getting pressed under turrets, so Young has the advantage in this mid lane. He's thinking about potentially trying to dive onto Rallick. Will flash forward. Good response flash from Rallick, and Young cannot get the heal through the tier 2 turret. Blunder from the TFT mid laner.
Doesn't even get anything on in terms of damage onto Rallick, and now Quacker might be in a bad situation. He's going to be on the chase down. Winnie, no CC available, though, without that Cyclone. So Quacker, hope for the... And there's the stun. Never mind.
He had a little bit of a window to get away, but Quacker is now also in a hole. So for the first game of the series, CCG are now in a hole on their top side. Music does catch Winnie on a back, and Surdy did take the back. He's going to try and teleport back in, but Quacker's here as well. No! Really valiant effort. They give it over to Quacker to get him a gold injection. What a teammate, Music.
Ooh, Winnie could have just kept running into Music at that point, because you'd rather give a kill over to a Sejuani instead of Renekton, but Music refused, abstains from murder, to ensure that his top laner gets to do it instead.
Now Quacker immediately backs, grabs a Null Magic Mantle and boots, refillable. He's playing the sustain game topside. I like it as the answer towards this Kennen.
Doesn't even get punished for the teleport either, for immediately backing after teleport, because the wave was pushing forward and is going to bounce back. Man, that's actually really lucky for Quacker right there.
That is lane saving for Quacker right now. So able to get his footing back onto this lane that was looking pretty dire. Now you've got an advantage with Rallick in mid after Young gives away that solo kill. Nothing much towards bottom lane. CCG has stabilized. The question becomes, what can Music do to try to get around these first neutral objectives? Last game, it was all Winnie. He's grabbed first Drake every game. Grabbed that first Rift Herald as well. Where does he look here with this bottom pressure? It looks like Winnie is beelining it topside here to potentially set up a dive. No ultimate's
Interesting.
available for Wukong.
Nope, there it is.
Slicing
Maelstrom
Maelstrom.
up.
Quacker has no dominance. Maybe try and chuck down the wave and get level 6 before. He's trying to pressure the wave, but he doesn't have ult yet.
No, he's trying to get
There's the
Maelstrom
slicing
so he can't
Maelstrom
get
out. Yeah. Quacker still trying to buff the wave, still level 6, gets stunned up. Way too easy. Winnie, one more auto will pick it up. Beautifully set up by Surdy to find that kill on to Quacker as they continue to just shut the Croc out of this game, topside.
Surdy, I mean, just everything goes right there. And, I mean, is perfectly fine with Quacker trying to get his ulti out by jumping into him full, just arms open. Is like, yeah, jump onto me, take the damage. And then actually, I mean, I don't know how subtle it was, but actually autos Quacker under turret to make sure that minion doesn't die. And that, so the last caster doesn't die and he can't get Dominus to survive the dive in the end. So very well played from Surdy right there. Just, my goodness.
It's the small things that can make a game, make a difference in a game. Good play though for Music on the crossplay. He does pick up that first Drake. So good CCG Futures their first Drake. And that's all you can really do.
First dragon that wasn't
once you saw
after
that
the
dive
first
setting
two.
up. Yeah, exactly, right? That's what we're talking about. But Quacker's now
Merc treads.
in a hole for the first time in this series. Yeah, he shoves the Merc Treads just to, you know, it's a double whammy for the AP and for the CC, the stuns that come across from this cannon.
And now Quacker, I mean, he's not really able to answer into Surdy, except for this one situation where he does have wave advantage. But now he's also behind in item building because Surdy's already got 2 massive components of the Hex Belt finished, or Rocket Belts. Now they're going to try and trade it back onto Winnie, it seems.
And does pick up that Scuttle, though. He's able to get out with the clone. They're roaming very easy around here, looking like they want to posture for this Rift Herald. It's going to be tough, though. You can see how little vision they have. And there's a lot of aggressive wards in this blue side jungle as well. They've got a control ward up in Music's position, so they'll be able to see when he decides to come up for this Rift Herald. Breezy is still sticking around, but Winnie, I mean, he's going back to the well. Wanting to punish Quacker. More and more.
Quacker,
That's the name of the game right now for
Team
Teamfish Taco. Yep.
Ooh, Glacial Prison for Young now. That's just the immediate backup from CCG.
And look at that, how much that vision does for Team Fish Taco. They've set up so well around this Rift Herald. They're able to zone him. They've roamed up Trevor as well. They're not really hitting it too hard. Surdy down here on top. There's the headbutt pulverized. Good Glacial Prison stuns up Surdy, but it's not going to matter. Breezy is already as good as dead. Abduct on to Music. Gets stunned up on top of that. Has to flash over top the wall. The pressure, just too much. Quacker trying to answer from the top side. Good headbutt away. Weaver's Wall does cut off half of Team Fish Taco. They're going to try and burn down Trevor, but he flashes away. The Unbreakable Will makes that Alistair too tanky. CCG have no answer unless they try and turn onto the Scuttle, or Rift Herald.
That fight did go really poorly for CCG, and the ulti from Baz B, as you saw, landed onto Young. I don't know if that was intentional from him or not, but there's the slicing Maelstrom out, looking to get the last stack onto the Renekton Will, but now it's Music running for his life.
Now they've got Breezy coming here. Young's already burned down Music. Rallic trying to throw out those stones. Winnie is so very low, but not dead just yet. Rallic getting jumped on by Young. The cooldowns finally come up. Surdy is roamed over, and it's a rout. Rallic falls. Team Fish Taco 3,000 gold up at 10 minutes in game number 3.
Rallic just never throws his flash out. Just holds it the whole time. Don't know if that was maybe a flash follow from Winnie if possible, but now Bazby, the Calibrum and the Crescendum. So much damage for free from Meech. Just barely gets away, forced to flash, and now Meech in such a strong position.
And Meech has got that bounty from farm. That's how far ahead you see him in this bottom lane. Bazby, the flash saved him. We have a teleport on the other side of the map, though, as Young try to cut off Rallic, and Surdy is here as well. Good flash from Rallic, finally uses it. but saves himself as CCG Futures just continue to fight in this top river. They don't want to give up that scuttle, or Rift Herald, but at this point they're going to have to, and Young is going to make sure of it. Flashes Abscondum Duck, killing spree. Rallic falls once more. Music can't even get into his own jungle. Surdy can't even roam down. It's just suffocating from Team Fish Taco right now, not letting CCG Futures get anything on the top side of the map.
And CCG Futures, they know that their game is kind of just based around this team fight, but they can't keep fighting when they're at this much of a deficit, but they don't really know what else to do, it seems. So they're going to keep throwing themselves, but it's just until it works, and Quacker's already going to fall on his own engage.
Winnie's going forward more, just to maybe zone. They're just feeding kills right now into Team Fish Taco. I mean, now you're looking at Surdy with that Rocket Belt already completed. Young has that Everfrost on top of that as well. The item difference is just too much. They can't keep fighting. It's insanity.
It's just not worth it. They're losing so much more value because they can't farm, and now Music with the power of the Rocket Belt, and Surdy's on a rampage. We're only 12 minutes into game number 3, and he's 4-0-5.
This is pandemonium. Breezy's going back in. They want the shutdowns, but where is the damage? Quacker flashing to try and get one more slice, and Dice does finally kill off Surdy, but Rallic will pay in the background, and now Quacker's all alone. He can't even run to his own tier 2 turret. They're diving him down there. 12 kills for Team Fish Taco in 12 minutes of play.
And you look at the man who's doing it all right now, Surdy. 5-1-6, 11 of 12 takedowns in not even 13 minutes. 5,000 gold ahead. And Surdy's already eyeing up a second item. Young has a fully stacked Dark Seal already. It's just smashing TFT. They were big mad about losing a game, and they will not make the same mistake again, it seems.
This is the Team Fish Taco that topped the Noxus group. Chock full of some of the best the Tier 2 has to offer. Sure, they don't have the synergy of having played a whole season of NACL together, but these are names that North America will have to become accustomed to. Guys like Young, Meech, Surdy, all players that I believe are of LCS caliber, and they're playing like it in game number 3 right now.
I will make a joke at the LCS's expense that they don't think they're LCS caliber, but that's mostly a jab at the league, not the players, because these players have been playing incredibly well. This is just like, oh my goodness. And now they're just going to be able to walk forward. Jump in cancels the jump over the wall from Breezy. Breezy's going to be able to get out barely with a flash, though.
And now look at this. They're dropping Rift Herald bot side. What are they cooking? Shelly's going to have to walk all the way over to that tier number 1. Winnie is taking his talents towards the bot side jungle where they want to punish now the bottom lane with the lead they have. I don't know if Shelly's going to crash, so a bit of a blunder. Rift Herald does not actually go off onto that bot tier 1, so the invade really comes up short. But with the lead the TFT have, they're not going to need the Rift Herald to knock down the tier 1. Finally going to give that one over to Meech just to give him some more gold injection. The gold lead now 6,000 at 15, and oh boy, it's getting worse. Young actually won't dive under turret, but chunks out Rallic with an Everfrost and Stolen Glacial Prison down to half.
Yeah, that Glacial Prison's going to be hurting. I mean, it already scales off of AP naturally. You give it onto a champion that actually builds AP. It's kind of the same thing you've seen with the... Oh, is it Solar Flare? Why do I not remember the name of the ultimate? It is Solar Flare. But it's the same deal. That thing has an unreal AP ratio, and you never get to see it because it's on a tank. But you give it to Silas, and it will half-health you.
Especially helps that he has 2 items in Medjai's. Good arrow! Hold on! They might have a pick onto Young here, but do they have enough damage over top? Young's able to escape away. Great Everfrost trying to zone. Gets the healing from Music. Rallic has to flash forward. Shutdown found. Finally, suddenly for CCG Futures. How much more can they get? Seismic jump back. Flash away from Trevor back under turret to keep himself safe. And it's only the shutdown, but it's at least something to grasp onto for CCG Futures.
They get the catch out. Young playing a bit overzealous there, not knowing where anyone was, and there's a recall cancel. Good job, Trevor. But they do get a massive kill. That is very nice to get. I'm pretty sure that was I want to say 500 gold shutdown over to Bralic. Or, well, no, actually, it was over, too. Music, so it's a bit less useful. But the whole time, Meech was just taking a top turret by himself, so... It's just... Is it worth it? I mean, probably, but... Uh-oh.
Well, it's a good seismic shove for Rallick back as well. But they just don't have the damage. I mean, this is an insurmountable gold lead for not really just like the gold itself, Box Kimchi, but the point in the game that this gold lead is at. And it might get worse. Music getting picked off, trying to get up to his own jungle. The stolen away Metal Storm. They're just going to burn and turn.
And
Music falls. Another big pick.
Young has three incredibly good CC ultimates in his favor. He's just diving at tier 2. He doesn't care when he comes in. Flashes with a Cyclone, and Baz B will meet his end under his own tier 2 when the tier 1's still up. My goodness, this is incredible. They're still just tanking turret because they can. TFT are toying with CCG Futures, and it's just unfair, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, tier 2 down in the top lane. Meech is just zoning Breezy. I mean, they're limit testing at this point.
Oh god. And the limit doesn't seem like it's very low. They got a lot of limit testing they can do. And I don't think we've seen the top of it yet, as Music running into Young again. That's just not ideal. Breezy has to slow down. The wall is a bit late. The run continues.
Yeah, they're just gonna chase him down. Wait, there's a wrap coming here. When he turns back around, Rallick and Music are here. Good Glacial Prison. They're trying to burn down to Meech. There's the shutdown. They've gotten Meech down. But the teleport from Sturdy, he's shown up. And oh boy, is this getting inflated. Slicing Maelstrom comes out. Goodbye, Breezy. Music soon to fall as well. Rallick on the wrong side of the lane. The arrow gonna land right on Rallick's head. It was a stolen ultimate from Young, showing out. Not expecting an arrow to land on a Rallick's head, and he falls. A double kill for Surdy. Team Fish Taco are dominating.
And they're answering everything exactly. I mean, perfectly. They get jumped. They get wrapped around on a possible overextension. They just have Surdy teleport in, put the Maelstrom on both tanks, and just shred through them and zone off Rallick. It's just TFT, even when they do wrong, can do no wrong right now.
And I like this play. I mean, this is how you get back into games. Punish over aggression. But it feels like Team Fish Taco just always have an answer. This replay, I just want to watch the stolen arrow, to be honest with you. Because
it's a really good arrow.
He gets the kill on a Bazby and then just turns around. He's like, all right, guys, I got you.
No. And you see the whole team pinging for it, too. So they know that he has the ultimate. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
nice Magnet Storm. Is this the engage they're looking for? They're going to immediately shut down.
They got him. Now they're chasing for Trevor. Chase down, pulled back. Another good play from Breezy. He doesn't want to quit just yet. Baz B gets 2 kills to himself. But the gold lead is still massive.
8,000 almost, and now make it 9. But they're getting the picks. They need to kill the three-headed carry, because this bot lane's not doing too much in terms of murder. And that's going to be onto the cannon. They need to get the CC chain.
What a seismic shove back from Rallick. They finally get a pick. It's the arrow and the mid laner from CCG Futures. And now Young has to run for the hills, but the damage is already done. 2 big shutdowns. Young soon to fall as well. Rallick and Quacker will chase him down. Buying a lot of time here. They need to be able to cut him off. Quacker should. They're taking the dragon in the background. Try and get back into this one. Quacker jumping forward. Seismic Shove will get it shut down. The third one. Here comes CCG Futures. They're cutting into that deficit.
And back-to-back massive catch-outs there. Breezy has been a menace on this rel, and that is what happens when you hand over the rel and just allow it to find one too many angles, and it's still I mean, we've gone from 9,000 to 6,000 6,000 gold deficit, which still sounds insane, but that is a silver lining for CCG now.
They've got something. They found a good pick here. They're also somehow ahead in Dragons as we have another Chemtech Soul. There's a bit of a window. It's not a big one. Yeah, the timing's really what's doing it.
Are they gonna kill the blue buff through its reset? Almost. It's very close. I mean, I don't know.
It's still gonna be hard.
Is TFT sweating yet, or?
I don't think so. I think their 5v5 feels a lot stronger, and they still have the gold in the right places. They still have a ton on Young, a ton on Surdy. He's got 2 items already on this Kennen with the stopwatch. You've got, well, technically 3 items on Young. I don't know how long he's going to hold on to the Medjais by this point after those shutdowns, but they're still going to hit like a truck. And they always have Meech's Aphelios just waiting in the wings, that hyperscale like you talked about during draft.
Meech even 0-2-1 and is still an item or half item ahead of Baz B, who's going for the Triforce here. So solo Q. Triforce is built on every tier of Ashe right now because you're not building anything else on ADCs.
Not ADCs like Ashe, certainly not.
Oh boy, what do you mean? Gale Force Ashe, so useless. I love it. It's my favorite.
Ashe is not going to feel very useful in this game, to be honest with you, except for those arrows, compared to Meech's damage and just the rain. It's been hitting, but
they feel good.
If you set it up right, it can hit, but so can Surdy. And Surdy, well, he's going to get hit on by Quacker. Finally has some items, and my god, I mean, that's a squishy Kennen, and Quacker's going to punish it. Great pick. The Death Brush works. CCG Futures, man, they're just getting pick after pick.
I think Surdy overestimated his survivability in that situation, but he doesn't have the stopwatch yet. You can see he's building, or not even the stopwatch, he doesn't have the hourglass. You can see he's starting to build it now. But he has a Void Staff and a Rocket Belt, which gives 0 defensive stats besides, I believe, health. So it is a near defenseless Kennen into a press the attack Renekton who can proc it with 1 Fury W. So he holds W, or holds ulti, holds Slicing Maelstrom. I think he thought he could escape until he realized he was absolutely just dead.
Ooh, Baz B, arrow doesn't stun long enough from that range, and Winnie's going to have him picked off. The flash, the ghost, might be enough. The dash from Winnie, one more, and slaps him down with the staff. So Baz B caught in the mid lane. Big blunder, could set up TFT to try and turn on to this Baron. They're looking to potentially pick Ralik, who's very far up. Music and Ralik have a Death Rush set, but they have to be careful because they don't have a lot of support near them. Breezy's finally here as well. Does the Baron turn happen? TFT are starting it up.
Winnie's all alone in the pit. I think Winnie's going to be backing out soon. But Quacker, you're all alone. What are you doing? But the Dominus is out. The healing's not enough.
Yeah, he's got the Dominus. Oh, the Glacial Prison whiffs onto Meech as well. Music having to flash away. They can't get to the Aphelios. And that's going to allow the Baron take to look even juicier for Team Fish Taco. Music and Ralik are still around, but Young has the flank. Breezy pops out. Good zoning. They're chunking Young down, but he's not low enough. Breezy has to flash away. Surdy has a Slicing Maelstrom, and here he comes. Stuns galore. The Wombo finally lands for Team Fish Taco, and it's a rout. Low health bars. Music actually has a turn. Ralik able to kite back, trying to chunk through this Alistar, but he's doing a good job buffering. Baz B finally arrives. Music falls. The carries are very low. Ralik gets thrown back into them, but Baz B has a trade. So Surdy falls. Baz B free firing, picks up a big double, and it's only the 80 carries left. But here comes Quacker. He's teleporting in the background. The turret's still up, but he doesn't care. This is a level 14 Renekton, and he's diving right under. Beach flashes away, cleanses, trying to kite away from Quacker. The Sterix pops, just needs to get a little bit closer. The Stripe Maker slow isn't enough. Beach turns it onto Quacker.
Oh, Quacker, you could have had that. You gotta delay the stun so he doesn't know when it's coming. So he burns his cleanse, but that was incredibly well played by both sides, even though it's, I think, a 5-for-4 technically. I mean, Baz B, it's only because Baz B came back with a Triforce and was just able to tear through the last 2 beefy members of TFT. And now, maybe I believe in the Ashe a little bit more. But it was really a saving play from that Alistar with the Unbreakable Will to tank all of Talia's damage and just make the fight super winnable.
That's the problem with playing Talia. You don't get a lot of damage. If somebody's blocking your damage, that's who you're hitting, right? You're not getting damage behind the Alistar very much, except for a shove and a stun. But even then, it's not the main punching factor of this Talia.
It's Ashe, though. Oh my god. Baz didn't even have ultimate available and absolutely turned that play. So, ooh, this Ashe with the Hearthbound Axe, this actually could start turning into a very, very scary AD carry.
But so does Meech. He has the Lord Dominix completed on this Aphelios as well. Just so scary to think about, especially when he has all of those dashes available. Gale Force, he doesn't have Flash now, so he's a lot more susceptible.
No cleanse.
He is just going to be able to free fire. Yeah. But think about how much else CCG have to worry about, right? This is still a 3-item Kennen, a 3.5-item Silas that are always going to be diving back.
He stole the stopwatch. Really, sir? He stole the stopwatch. Okay. You used it already, but now it's just going to be CCG starting the Baron. They're going to try and rush this.
Young has teleport. He is in the bottom lane. TFT, they don't have knowledge that's going on. They have an idea. The ward finally goes down, but look how low it is. When he immediately jumps into the pit here, but stunned up. Can they burn him? He's down. They pick up the Baron. Is this the revenge tour for CCG Futures? They have the 5v4 fight, but do they want it? Trying to zone off, dancing, holding their line. Zerdy's trying to set up for a flank here. The Kennen has the blast cone. There's the slicing maelstrom. He jumps on, but nobody's following him. He's just caught for free. Zerdy dies for nothing. And here comes CCG chasing down the carries, trying to get towards Meech. They have the Baron empowered minions. Music can't get the slow and gets chunked by Meech. So they're going to back off, but what a win for CCG Futures. Are they back in this game, Box Kimchi?
I mean, the gold lead, it's still not in their favor, but they just keep finding the angles. They start the Baron, and they're just able to rush it down because of the... I mean, they have a Talia and an Ashe. They are burning through that thing. And then when Winnie jumps over, they stop touching the Baron entirely, and they just start beating up Winnie instead to make sure there's no smite steal. And you saw Winnie just throw in a smite hoping that it fell below the threshold because of the Talia burn, but it did not. But now Breezy, gotta be careful here.
Oh my. Maya has a catch on to Winnie once more, trying to punish this susceptible Wukong. The empowered blast cone will save him. And think about how much standing gold is around and available for CCG Futures. They are still yet to take a turret, and they have Baron.
It's just, that's really where I'm not believing in this play or not in this play, but in the game entirely, as gonna jump on to music here.
Glacial Prison defensively. Winnie might be calling the background. Uses the clone to get out. Young has to flash away for Bazbeat. Here comes Quacker. They've got Meech. They've picked him off. Shutdown galore. Trevor's falling as well. They get to the carry. CCG Futures just won't quit on this game. They won't quit on this series. And they win back-to-back fights.
I mean, every time I think CCG are just gonna run into the brick wall, they keep finding ways to plow through it. They're sending 2 up top lane though. This is really dangerous. The Ashe ulti isn't even gonna be used by Young. He's only gonna use it onto the Renekton.
It doesn't stun for long enough. Young has to go gold and shut down again and look mid. Ralik and Music have just continued shoving. The gold lead has evaporated. It's down below 1,000 after it was nearly 7 at 12 minutes.
Uh-oh. Ralik, you might have stepped up a bit too far here, buddy. You don't have a Rylai's, but now you have Music coming in to cut off the behind. Smite comes through. The arrow isn't even needed.
Oh my god. CCG Futures, they're in the lead. They could do it. They could upset Team Fish Taco.
Oh my goodness, I am just in disbelief. If there was a cam on me, or if they moved the cam up, you would just see my hands on my head during most of these fights, because I am just in awe that CCG Futures keep finding these angles for picks and fights, and it's just insane how they maneuver these so perfectly to keep everybody alive, or as many people alive as they can during them.
They're just continuously desyncing the sort of combo Team Fish Taco wants to go for. We haven't seen Surdy and Winnie combine their Cyclone and their Slicing Maelstrom. We haven't seen Meech been in a position to really dominate a fight just yet. It's always been on the back foot. And that's credit to CCG Futures punishing those missteps. It feels like Team Fish Taco have been playing with house money. They've been playing super uber aggressive as individuals and not working as a team, and it's made this a game again. They will pick up Chemtech Soul Point for free, though, off the reset. But now this is anyone's game.
The gold leaves even, and CCG are about to pull into the lead here. If they could just find a way to take one more turret, this is an absolutely chaotic comeback. This is the most kills easily, 45 combined already, and I mean, there's at least 1 or 2 more team fights left in these teams, minimum.
Baron about a minute 30 out. The gold even, a lot of the turrets kind of evening out as well.
Winnie.
So there's not a ton of turrets to take. Wow, yeah, what a blast gun.
Man, I love those
Breezy's
blast
gonna be
guns.
safe.
So awesome.
Oh, they're so fun. They're almost as fun as this game has turned into.
This is actually incredible, and I love it. And actually, to go back to your point on they're desyncing Team Fish Taco so well, this is something that we've seen a lot of Chinese, like a lot of LPL teams use to get advantages in team fights where even they're outnumbered. They force, not uneven fights, but they try to use any advantage they have, even if they're at a disadvantage, to be honest. They try to use that to get out CDs, because if you're not going to win in numbers or in health bars, you can at least win in CDs to set up future fights, especially if you can get flashes and ultimates. That's like a minute and a half to 5 minutes that a massive ability is down.
And they might have another desync fight here. The arrow lands on the Winnie. Are they going to try and jump on the Wukong? There's the big Infernum back. The Wombo finally coming around CCG Futures, but they're burning the front line. Winnie's already down. Young shows up late, has to flash. Abduct's backed in. But how much damage do they have over top? Music will fall. He pays the price. The Wombo from Ralik was so deadly, but only finds one, and somehow it's a trade.
It's just so, they're so tanky now with I mean, yeah, you see the Verdant, I believe it's Bracelet or something like that. But you see that on, oh, the flash forward, not going to land anything, but you see it on the Kennen. You see the Hourglass coming out now for Silas. There's just so many defensive abilities, or defensive stats available. Quacker, so what?
Young hijacks the Metal Storm. There's the Slicing Maelstrom. Baz B burned his flash earlier and just pays for it. Quack on the flank, only able to get one. And here comes Meech flashing forward. That's the 4-item of Felios, finally shutting down and calming TFT's nerves. They ace and grab the Baron.
And you see CCG, that's actually kind of, I mean, TFT just used exactly what CCG want. They thought they had a pick on to, they thought they had a pick onto Trevor, but then they turn it into an uneven fight. A 3v2 with a Silas is very unwinnable for 2 squishies, especially when they're stunned by a Slicing Maelstrom. And by the time Quacker shows up, it's way too late, and now TFT pushing down the base. They could look to end here with just Music alive.
They're gonna get the inhibitors for free. Breezy's back up. Let's choose to chase down Young here. They don't have a ton of damage in this kit. They're gonna get the slows, the stuns. Meech is roaming over. Young gets the healing, has the Sejuani ult. There's the Metal Storm, but they don't have the damage. The arrow lands right on Meech's head. Can they burn him? Finally, Basby arrives. Shut down onto Meech. So another overextension from TFT.
Oh,
and
teleport!
Where did Quacker just come from? He teleported from the Baron pit, and he's gonna make sure it's a 2-fold shutdown. Young falls, Quacker picks that one up.
Get rid of your Mage Eyes, Young. You can't have a Mage Eyes in a game that's just gonna be a fist fight. Dear God. And CCG, they lost the fight. They come back and find another fight that they can win, and maybe they've caught out Winnie here too.
Yeah, they get the slow the stride breaker. The Weaver's Wall cuts off his escape. Winnie tried to cancel out the wave pushing mid, but he gets canceled out, sent to the gray screen.
Oh my goodness, CCG, you find some picks, and now they're pushing down the base. I mean, there's already an inhib that's gonna fall in mid, and you have 7 seconds before Meech is up. You gotta be very careful here. You can't afford to lose this.
Ooh, Trevor goes in trying to delay the minion wave, but if he dies, this could be massive. The Unbreakable Will doing so much. The Inferno Moonlight Vigil, so much damage. Everybody below 25% HP, and Meech just single-handedly pushes CCG Futures out of the base.
I mean, the only thing... Oh, wait, they're going to get a catch-out.
Oh! They're going back in! They've got Meech! Cerny pops the Slicing Maelstrom, so Quacker's traded. Young shows up, but where's the team? Nobody's with them. He has to run towards the blue side base. One versus everybody. Just trying to stall. The desyncing respawns. Death timer's working. The arrow whiffs. Young still running. Finally slowed down. Breezy's crash down. Gets the stun. Bazby's here is the only damage. They need to protect him though. Young's cooldowns. He can't get onto the Ash. He can't get the heals. Has to go golden. Another slow. It's not enough. It's a rampage for Bazby. What is going on in this game?
Everything has gone to crazy town. This is all over the place. You look away, you thought there was going to be a fight over, everyone was going to reset after getting absolutely obliterated by an Aphelios ultimate, but nope, they somehow find a way to bait Sturdy into walking forward, and they turn it into another fight, and then Young teleports into another fight. It's just chaos, and it's going to be 3 dragons each in the end somehow. I am...
Of course.
Oh my goodness.
37 minutes. Nobody has Dragon Soul. Each team is taking Baron. Each team is blown into the other team's base. There's supers pouring in from multiple waves. You've got a full item of Felios too by this point for Meech. I mean, this is chaos.
Yeah, Bazby coming up on the Guardian Angel himself as well. You got a full item. Talia, get rid of your Magi, Young. You're just better off buying a full AP item at this point, man. But, I mean, it's working out, I guess. And then just everyone's so rich. And then you have the top laners and junglers who are just poor, comparatively. And the supports. We don't even talk about their money, though.
Zerdy is very close to full build. Quacker is not. He's behind. He's trying to get himself a GA as well.
God. This game is devolved. I love it.
Quacker getting to a GA could be huge. They also want Bazby to get to a GA. They're waiting on those item points, trying to hit those thresholds. Baron is up in a minute 15, a minute 10. That could be the game-saving fight here. Full build already online for Young, like you were talking about, with that Magi. Stopwatches galore on either side. You got potions popped on Young as well, and Winnie. They're playing this Baron like the last fight of the game.
It could be. Any numbers advantage can mean the end, and if you lose 3 or 4 members, your game can be over with how long. These death timers are nearing, probably surpassing a minute by this point. So if you get aced or even just lose 3 members, you're fully at risk of losing this series and going to the best of 5 elimination matches.
You're seeing the power of having those 2 waves of super minions right now for Team Fish Taco. They're going to shove out bot side. They've got mid and top continuously shoving in. CC Futures, they can't even set up around this Baron at all. They're nowhere close. They have 0 vision, only a bit of vision with scrying orbs in their jungle. But they'll have to walk into the pit if they want to. Do they even want to try for this? Do they give the Baron?
It's really difficult because you can't really just walk forward into a Kennen ulti, but Kennen's not here right now, so you can actually get the jump on them if you can find the kills as the teleport comes through from Quacker.
They stole the Music stolen! He stole the Baron! He saves it for CCG Futures once more, but Cerny's flank is deadly. They pick up the kill on the Music. He falls, but look at the turn. They've already burned Trevor down. Quacker has a GA. He will fall and likely fall once more, but Bazby, Ralik, and Breezy, they all have Baron, and they're running away. They get the purple banner, and they save the game, all thanks to Music.
Oh my goodness, his second steal of the series, and unlike Game 2, this one means everything for CCG Futures, as, I mean, by the skin of their teeth, they keep surviving these fights narrowly, and now they are wearing the purple on dual carries and Breezy, I guess. Breezy's there. Sorry, Breezy, you're not a carry, but you're doing a lot of important stuff, and I mean, the gold lead doesn't matter anymore. Almost everyone's full build, so 1k gold lead on TFT means pretty much nothing unless you're a support.
I mean, it's zero. And getting that Baron, I mean, now you can push those waves out. You can not have to worry about the supers. You'll have pushing waves wherever these carries are. You can see him just shoving in mid, and now that gives CCG Futures the advantage to set up for this Soul secure. I don't care who gets it. Someone's getting Chemtech Soul in a minute.
Someone's going to get the Chemtech Soul, and it's... I mean, if we go another 5 minutes past that, if we somehow make it to like 50 minutes, there will be an Elder Drake, and my goodness, this will be the latest first Elder spawn I've seen in a long time. These two teams just went back and forth, Baz. Have they caught somebody out?
They get the arrow. Look how quickly they chunk Trevor down. You've got a big flank coming from Breezy. The slicing Maelstrom only hitting the front line. Nobody's hitting Meech, though. He's free firing, and he's mopping them all up. A triple kill for Meech already. Baz B, the next victim. The GA drops. The 6th item of Felios shows up for Team Fish Taco. Shutdowns galore. And Meech, the DSG champion, NACL champion, is going to win the series for Team Fish Taco.
Oh my goodness. Just when I thought maybe they were going to pull this one out. TFT, the Gale Force forward, the Moonlight Vigil, it's the ace on the hands of Meech, and in a complete and absolute barn burner, TFT will remain in the upper bracket by the narrowest of margins, it feels.
Oh my god. That was game of the playoffs already. I mean, I don't... Good luck beating that ACL. That was...
Oh boy.
That was a rousing game. And, you know, obviously it's a loss for CCG Futures, so that stinks. But this is the upper bracket. Nobody's getting eliminated. And now, Box Kimchi, we can look at the series holistically for a team that struggled most of the year and barely got into the playoffs. To have this kind of series against the #1 team from Noxus, you got to be somewhat happy coming away from this.
Absolutely. If you're CCG and or a CCG fan and you're like, dang it, we lost the series. I mean, it sucks, but you put up an absolute fight. The first thing is you took the best team, one of the best teams easily in the ACL to a third game. No one was expecting you to take a game probably entering this series, and not only did you take it to 3, you dominated game 1, and you almost won the entire thing until just one massive coin flip team fight, and it's just like, you took one of the best teams to 43 minutes. You can't really be upset about that at all.
A lot to build on here for CCG Futures, and as much as I'd love to, well, I guess we do have time. I do want to update everybody. CCG Main playing Peach Cats, which is just, oh my god, that's an unbelievable series too. That one is currently going on. I wish I had an update for you guys how game 1 is going. I don't. But I want to make sure everyone knows the game 1 of that CCG series is also going while we're starting to close up shop here with the Futures. But, I mean, Box Kimchi, you said it so well. This has to be a great film session to study for the lower bracket if you are CCG Futures, and just a lot of great to build on that now that they finally have their core roster playing together and playing really well.
I'm still just so impressed. Like, this team, they were down 9,000 gold entering mid-game, which is just like 90% of teams, yeah, right? 99% of teams, death sentence. But this team just kept going. They played to their strengths. They found the picks. Basby bought a Triforce, and they fought so incredibly well. It almost, I mean, as someone who said this series was over at like 12 minutes, they just not even stall, to fight back for 30 more minutes and almost win is just beyond. I just can't believe it.
A loss in the series for CCG Futures, but a win in many other aspects. They go down 2-1 to Team Fish Taco, but it took everything out of this stacked TFT roster. They're in the upper bracket. CCG Futures will fall to the lower. We have no idea how the seeding will work. This is the first series to close out, so there's a lot of logistics to go into the back of this for Aegis to figure out. I believe lower bracket play will be on Mondays now, so keep a look for that if you're a CCG Futures fan. We should have a game on Monday for them in the lower bracket, but they look like a scary team that you do not want to face in the lower bracket. Where I believe we're going to throw to an extended break here. I did get an update from Krim that CCG is up in game number 1. We will be picking up game number 2 here. We'll unfortunately be saying goodbye to Mr. Box Kimchi. We'll be getting Bonfire. So, Mr. Kimchi, do you have any final words for the CCG faithful before we get on out of here?
CCG futures, miracle run through the lower bracket. I might be back for that. Who knows? But honestly, I would be very surprised if this team doesn't make some noise in lower bracket, even as, again, the 4 seed from their division. They showed here that they don't care about rankings. They don't care about the full skill gap that may or may not exist. They want to battle, and they'll do it however they want to. And for CCG Esports, close it out. One of the CCG teams needs to make a run through the upper bracket so they can meet futures in the lower brackets in the grand finals, because that's totally what's going to happen, I promise.
It's already going to happen in a different league, but we're not focusing on that right now. We're going to throw to the break to focus on that. On the other side, it's going to be an extended one, folks. We'll likely be picking up game number 2 draft from CCG Main versus Peach Cat. So if you're looking for more ACL action, make sure to stick around. Go check out the main Aegis broadcast as they are broadcasting Lotus Exiles versus the Red Hot Clown Gaming Squad over there. But until then, make sure to keep this Twitch up, and we'll see you guys in a bit to pick up the other CCG main matchup.